Arrows win. They go on to St. Louis to play Baltimore in the first game of the semifinals Friday night. Shot by Phoenix from way outside, beating Zoltan Toth 6-4. And now Jenkins controlling for the Inferno. 2:45 left to go in regulation. Alberto fronting Jenkins. Down low, knocks up, goal! There it is! 6-5. We've got a one-goal game.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to Soccer Rewind, the channel that puts the retro in retrospective. I'm your host, Ken Tomash, and every week we take a look at a vintage American soccer game and we talk to someone with a connection to that game. Could be a player, could be a coach, could be a broadcaster, a writer, or a historian. We use the benefit of hindsight to get insight into the teams, the games, and the moments that shaped our soccer history. Now, I've told you before that we like to go obscure on this channel when we can, and if you like the 80s, indoor soccer, strange stories, and true crime, today's video is for you. If you got a comment on this week's video, drop it below or email the address on your screen, rewind@ken.com, and let us know what you think. Now, we're going to rewind to the spring of 1981. The Ronald Reagan era had barely begun, and the new president didn't know it yet, but he was about to survive an assassination attempt, one that would add to his legend. The Americans held hostage in Iran were finally released. Walter Cronkite retired from the CBS Evening News. Later that year, MTV launched. There was a Major League Baseball strike, and the first IBM personal computer came on the market for the low, low price of just over $1,500. Meanwhile, the Major Indoor Soccer League was holding its third set of playoffs, and an expansion team from Phoenix, the Inferno, had squeaked in as the 8th seed despite a losing record. Now, we're going to show you a famous game from that opening round playoff series, but the really interesting part about all this is what happened after that and what we learned later. It is a remarkable story that is almost unbelievable, and it would be unbelievable except for our guest today. You may know Bob Nightengale now as the national baseball writer for USA Today, but back in 1981, he covered sports for the Arizona Republic, which was something called a newspaper. Apparently, there's still some of those left. I'm not 100% sure. And it was his reporting that uncovered the wild and crazy story of the Phoenix Inferno. Bob, thank you so much for joining us here on Soccer Rewind.
My pleasure, Ken.
So take us back. Help us understand, what was the Valley like as a sports market in 1980s? Nothing like it is today, right?
No, it was kind of considered a cow town, really. I mean, you had the Phoenix Suns, and that was it. The AAA team and the Phoenix Giants. No NFL, no baseball, of course. And it was just the Phoenix Suns. They owned the whole area, played at the old Coliseum. And that was it. And Arizona State was big too. But yeah, professional sports really never had, broke on the scene yet.
So along comes this new team in a fairly new sport, in a fairly new league. How was the Major Indoor Soccer League's Inferno received by the market and the media initially?
I think just something new. It's like, okay, at least it's a professional sport, something else to do in town. They had the Manzana car races and the stock car races. But just something new. Nobody in the Valley knew anything about it. And, they saw outdoor soccer. They've seen hockey on TV, but didn't know anything about indoor soccer.
So Richard Thier and Rick Ragone were introduced as the owners, and one Arizona Republic columnist, not you, described them as business successes and said that was a strength of the new team. But they didn't have any sports experience at all. Did that set off any alarm bells for anybody?
Not back then. It certainly would now, Ken. It just, journalism wasn't the same back then. It took people's words for the truth. There was no internet, anything like that to check a person's finances. So no, it was like the Wild Wild West everywhere, but particularly here in Phoenix.
So opening night comes November 21st, 1980, and the Inferno loses to the San Francisco Fog 6-5 in overtime in front of 11,000 plus fans. They had flames shooting in the air during introduction. They had Frisbee dogs. They had guys on stilts. They had the requisite dance team, the Vixens. All in all, seemingly a good show, a great start. A week later, they drew 12,000 people. So they had some really good announced crowds, 4 times over 10,000. So it felt, at least at the time, you could have been excused if you thought that this was a pretty decent debut, right?
Yeah, you just don't know how many of those tickets are just paper tickets, freebies. How many people actually paid the full price. And, back then, they just want to get people in the stands, no matter, whether it was a freebie or cost 50 cents to get in. But it's hard to think, we look back now, that 12,000 people actually paid the full price to get in.
That's true. The early going was turbulent despite the good signs. Coach Norm Sutherland was pushed up into the GM role with the team 8-19, and defender Adrian Webster became the new coach. There was also a big goalie kerfuffle early. Both Nick Ocharik and Bob Stetler were struggling. The Inferno got rid of both of them. They signed Henry Westmoreland, who had no pro experience at all, and they traded with Baltimore for Van Taylor, who we'll talk about later on in this show. He mostly had outdoor experience, a little bit of indoor. So there was a lot of turmoil on this team in the early going, wasn't there?
Yeah, just try to get a winning product in the field. And obviously indoor soccer was, completely different than soccer. It's like a soccer, like a pinball machine. And so it was entertaining, but, I think the real hockey purists probably, shrug your shoulders at it or raise their eyebrows like, okay, is this really soccer?
But after that 8-19 start, they quickly won 4 in a row, 9 of their last 13 to squeak into the playoffs. And that brings us to where we are now, what we're going to look at. The first round was against the mighty New York Arrows. They had gone 35-5 that season after winning the title the first 2 years of the league. This was the year that Steve Jungle scored 108 goals. The Arrows were in their prime. And on March 18th, 1981 at Arizona Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, in front of nearly 9,000 fans, the Inferno shocked the Arrows 10-6. Taylor made 21 saves, and Willie Watson marked Steve Jungle about as well as you can. He scored twice, but he was held largely in check, and that was the only time all season that the Arrows gave up double-digit goals. So they go back to Long Island for Game 2, and that game was tied in the fourth quarter before New York scored 4 times to win it 10-6 and even the series. Can you remember, was there any excitement about this at all? Arizona State had been in the NCAA tournament that month. Spring training was going on. The Suns were having their best regular season ever and the best that they would have until Charles Barkley got there several years later. Did anybody notice that this was happening?
I don't think so, Ken. It was just kind of a blip on the screen. It was a professional sport, but it wasn't like anybody talked about it. I don't think they talked about it on talk shows or anything like that. They probably showed a few highlights on TV. The papers, 2 local papers, covered it at home, but not on the road. There was a Republic and Phoenix Gazette. That was about it.
Well, that sets us up now with Game 3, the game you are about to watch. So let us rewind to Tuesday night, March 24th, 1981, at Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. Al Troutwig and Nick Zlatar had the call on Sports Channel. Bob and I will be back at halftime.
Live from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale. Quarterfinal playoff action of the Major Indoor Soccer League. Tonight, the Phoenix Inferno visit the New York Arrows. Good evening, everybody. Al Troutwig along with Nick Zlatar. The cheering in the background for the introduction of the lineup for the New York Arrows. This is the final game, the deciding game between the New York Arrows and the Phoenix Inferno, as these two teams battle for what Brian Lewis, Assistant Public Relations Director of the Arrows, called the right to pay for the airfare to go to St. Louis. The Arrows finished the regular season at 35-5. Phoenix 17-23. Of the 8 teams that made the playoffs, Phoenix was 8th, and that's why the Arrows drew them in the first round of the playoff action this season. In the first game, Phoenix stunned New York, 10-6 in Phoenix. Nick and I were there. We brought it to you on Sports Channel. Saturday night, the Arrows came back in a crazy game, defeating Phoenix by the same score, 10-6. Nick and I were there. You saw it on Sports Channel. The unfortunate incident in that game was Renato Chila receiving a red card. There was an altercation with the referee, Julio Salas, and Renato's been suspended from further play this season. That's going to hurt the Arrows undoubtedly, but the battle at hand is this third and deciding game, Nick.
Yes, it certainly is. Just before we went on, the organist was playing Take Me to St. Louis, Louis. This is what it's about. You indicated, Al, that these two teams are teams of contrast. It has been a playoff series of contrast. 10-6 in Phoenix, 10-6 in New York. Our first-year team, a team going for their third championship, an original cast of the Major Indoor Soccer League, the New York Arrows. We have a player, Adrian Webster, who became a coach a couple months ago, turned that franchise around. The coach for New York is what I think should be the coach of the year, Don Popovich, who has won the previous 2 team championships here for New York. So it's really been a playoff contrast between the 2 teams.
Anyone will tell you that when you win a championship, the hardest thing to do is win it again. Well, the Arrows are trying to do that for the second time. But one thing you have to think about the Arrows is the injury problem. Shep Messing's got that right knee. He missed the last 8 games of the regular season. He's not 100%, maybe about 85. Luis Alberto's got a slightly pulled left groin. He's not 100%. These are 2 key players.
Yes, they are, and I think certainly New York has much, much more depth. Those of you who watched this on Thursday from Phoenix, after about 10 minutes in the first quarter, I made a comment that I didn't think that Phoenix could last. I was wrong. They've lasted in that game, and they won. They came out strong in the fourth quarter and won. And New York on Saturday, they blew it in the fourth quarter. It was 6-6 at the end of 3. New York came back with 4 unanswered goals in the fourth. I don't think, certainly the first line of Phoenix is as good as anybody's in the league. The second line, I think they've gotten a great mileage out of. New York has the depth, so even with the injury factor, some of the players must come off the bench. One more point, Al. New York has scored 16 goals in 2 games. 15 of those goals came from Steve Zungel, Freddie Gergerever, Branko Segota. More goals must be scored from the midfield and back players if New York wants to win today's game.
Well, Steve Zungel has the goals that Nick just spoke about, but the key player for New York on Saturday night was Fred Gergerev. Freddie wanted to be traded midseason, decided to stay on, and ever since then he's been one of the hottest players in the Major Indoor Soccer League. His 4 goals on Saturday night each broke a tie. In other words, the game was tied and then Freddie scored the go-ahead goal, so those undoubtedly and clearly were big goals for New York. Now, Steve Zungel's been pretty well marked out of Game 1 and Game 2 by Willie Watson of Phoenix. It'll be just a matter of time, I believe, where Steve finds the magic formula to beat this guy.
And I think the magic formula for Steve is to be in motion. Tonight, very early in the game, let's see whether or not Steve is in a stationary position or if he's in a running position when he receives the ball. If he is on the run to receive the ball, look out for him to bust past Watson. If he's a stationary target, then it makes it easier for Watson to mark. But again, you mentioned Freddie Gergerev. He's playing with great emotion. Freddie is a local favorite. He's going to get goals again tonight.
All right, the Arrows and the Inferno will be fighting, but right now the crowd pauses for the national anthem. We ask you to do the same.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ronnie Gershenfeld, ladies and gentlemen. The referee for tonight's game is Mr. Bill Maxwell.
The ocean. It has a chemistry all its own. Snappers like the warm waters around Mexico. Tuna, the Pacific. Lobsters, the icy waters of Maine. And they all wind up at the Fulton Fish Market, where we have a chemical bank branch nearby. And a branch manager who'll stop by at 5 a.m. just to say hello. Or bend a few of the rules to help out a little. From Long Island Sound to the sounds of the Fulton Fish Market. The chemistry's just right at Chemical.
This bud's for everyone who puts it down in black and white.
This bud's for you.
For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This bud's for you.
Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar back at the Nassau Coliseum. It will be Zoltan Toth in the nets for New York. He'll defend the goal to the right side, and it will be Van Taylor to the left. There you see a look at what the records were broken on Saturday night. Most shots by game, quarter, half, you name it, penalty minutes for Chile, and a whole bunch of other things. But what it matters right now is that this is the final and deciding game, and those first 2 games throw them out, because basically right now it's a 1-game series. So it's Van Taylor for Phoenix. Shot and a goal! There it is! Broncos Segota off the kickoff, and it's 1-0 New York. What a way to start the game.
Now, just as you were talking about the statistics, and you correctly said, forget about it. This is it. This is day 1, as well as the last and the first day. New York gets the ball. Here we come, off the left side. David DeRico matched up with Miller. Miller's done a great job for his team in getting them goal motivating. Plays it back. Now here's the problem of the indoor league. Goalkeeper's feeding the ball off the glass. Branko Segota comes in with force and speed. Again, what looked to be an attempt to play the ball safely back to the keeper. Jenkins, the player who was matched up with Branko, a little bit disgusted, but Branko Segota gets his 6th goal, new MISL
record for the fastest goal in a playoff game. 17 seconds. Steve Jungle unbelievably gets the assist. Arrows on top, 1-0. They go with DeRico, Tuksha, Jungle, Segota, and Luis Alberto. Here's Tuksha inside, broken up by Jenkins. Tuksha stays with it. Inside, deflected by Jenkins. They go to the corner. Pulling it outside is Vic Davidson, the Inferno's leading scorer. Jungle snatches it away. The Arrows look hot off the top. But don't forget the Inferno. Their name implies what they've been in the first 2 games. Back of the midfield line, Luis steals it away. Volleys it near side, Broncos, Segota. Segota goes to the red line, spins away from Miller. 14:05 left to go first quarter, live from the Coliseum in Uniondale, game 3 of the quarterfinal MISL playoffs, 1980-81. DeRico moves it into the corner for Luis Alberto. Alberto reels it away from Miller. Looks outside, he's got Segota. Gets it out to him, but the pass is awry, and Davidson is there. He quarterbacks the ball ahead for Phoenix. Moving in ahead of the field is George Natshaw. Pulls it back away from Tuksha. Shot deflected by New York. At one point, Nick and I talked about Saturday was that the Arrows blocked a tremendous number of shots in game 2 as opposed to game 1.
And that's a particular matchup I love to see. Tuksha on Natshaw.
Here comes Segota coming in. Shot hits the post. Comes out wide, bounces off the boards. Alberto is there, back for Jungle. Turns, spins, fires, shot blocked by Miller. Out for Tuksha at the red line. Volleys it ahead, intentional handball, should be 2, but it will not be. It will just be a free kick, New York. 13-16 left to go in the first. Direct free kick, New York is upcoming.
Steve takes a shot, Miller blocks it, ball comes back out. Now here comes an air ball, Miller. It looked close, but it really wasn't. It was an intentional handball. We saw 2 of those the other night. Both of them resulted in a 2-minute delay, not this one.
Jungle, Alberto, the return, inside, saved by Van Taylor. Ball still loose. No goal. No goal, whistle before the shot.
And Van Taylor, who has been really exciting and tremendous for his team, keeping the Inferno in the game, is injured. We'll get to see it again. Branko does a great give and go with Luis Alberto. Watch the inside of the foot back to Steve. Comes in now, it's a loose ball. Watch this action now. Watch the left foot of Steve kick the goalkeeper. Usually goalkeepers wear cuffs, so I'm sure he'll be back. But Van Taylor, we cannot say enough. He was the 3rd star of the game here on Saturday. He really did a super job. Was one of the reasons why the game was as close as it was for 3 quarters.
He was really knocked around in that game. Freddie hit him 3 times, one time scoring a goal, all within the action of play. Right now, Van is down. There you see Van with an 8.00 goals against average. That's for the playoffs. And Shep and Van have the same goals against average because they both gave up 10 goals in either game. It was 10-6 Phoenix first, 10-6 Arrows in the second. Zoltan Toth will have his own goals against average when this one's finished. Van Taylor will put the ball in play, the goal kick across the midfield line, knocked away by first-team All-Star David DeRico, the connoisseur for Segota. Stolen away by Willie Watson. Ahead for Leroy DeLeon, for Marinello. Well, this team that Phoenix has out there has been playing a spectacular playoff series. Once again, Arrows on the top first. 1-0, 17 seconds into the game. Broncos Segota on a misplay on the Phoenix defensive back line. On an assist to Steve Jungle, Arrows on top. Here's Marinello in the New York zone. Toth has yet to make a save. Here comes McDermott. Moving on to Rico. David slices it away beautifully off the boards. McDermott stays with it.
Al, it's very important that the first couple of balls that Zoltan handles are safe and easy for him, rather than very high pressure. So maybe one of his teammates could play the ball back. There it is. Very important to get the goalkeeper involved into the rhythm of play early in the game, so that the first ball he handles is not a tough one.
Alberto tries to find Segota at the midfield line. Jungle finds Luis. And they call a foul against Phoenix. Undoubtedly, this game will be called very tightly. And it probably will be one of the smoothest games we've seen all year. These two teams realize that any shenanigans could result in a lost game, and they know that there will be no other game after this one.
This is the line, the second line that's done a lot of good work for Phoenix.
Jungle coming in off the glass. Anyone there for New York? Taylor pushes Segonis, fires it into the crowd. Bronco spun and tried to hit it on the volley, and he got too much underneath it. And it will be a goal kick Phoenix. 12-13 remaining, quarter number 1. Arrows lead at 1-0. We'll look at it one more time.
Here we see the ball coming off the glass. Now look, Bronco's just a little bit too deep. He gets pushed there from behind. Now notice how he tries to level his body off to keep the ball down underneath, but he got it a little bit too far under and over the glass away.
Arrows are moving quickly. They're fighting for the loose balls, but here comes Phoenix into their zone. Marinello outside, no one there with a yellow uniform on. Arrows in the home blue. Break for Lewis. Gets by one. Slides it over for Jungle. Steve in control. Lays it off Satevsky. He goes into the corner. Bounce it outside for Jungle. Steve. Drive. Blocked by Verdi. Segota gets the deflection. Gets it outside for Gene Strenisser. 11:44 left to go, quarter number 1. This is Segota with the ball. Bronco cuts to center. Lays it off Megaludis. Played a brilliant game on Saturday night. Drive off the windows. Jungle can't get the rebound. Back for Megaludis. Crossfield for Satevsky. Arrows keeping the ball alive. This will go in Phoenix's direction, deflected by New York.
As we mentioned, since Renato Chile is now playing tonight, it's very important that the other players who will be getting more playing time now pick up that slack. One of those players will be Gene Strinitzer, Nicky Megaludis, Damir Satevsky especially. I think it's important for him to have a good game tonight. That midfield player is so key in getting the attack going.
Meanwhile, Baltimore, St. Louis, and Wichita wait for the conclusion of this game to see who's going to wind up in St. Louis for the Final Four of the 80-81 playoffs of the MISL. 11 minutes, 18 seconds left to go, first quarter. Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar live from the Coliseum in Uniondale. Jenkins with the ball, slides it to the corner for George Natchoff. Brother of Philadelphia's Louis. Strenisser marking him tightly. Spins, attempts the shot. Nikitovic takes it away. Dragan Nikitovic, first year with New York, across the midfield line. Pass for Jungle. Steve didn't see it. Natchoff is there, bounces it off the windows. And a smart play by Watson gets it back for Taylor.
Almost the same mistake that resulted in the first goal. The Inferno, this is not the same team that we saw the previous two occasions. They're a little bit flat. They're not playing with the fire that they played in the first two games.
Off the boards, Toth is there. Fires it out for Fred Gagarev. Had a big game Saturday with 4 goals, all of them breaking ties. Gagarev gets by Zavaleta. Shot saved by Taylor. Out for Nikitovic. His drive slapped into the crowd by Taylor on the slap save. It will be a corner kick, New York. That'll go for the far spot with 10:28 left to go first quarter. Watch the action one more time.
Here comes a real good move by Freddie. Watch him really fool Zavaleta. Comes down, takes a shot, low right to the keeper. Punch save, and here comes Dragan Nikitovic. Thunderous left foot.
Back live, Arrows give it away on the corner kick. Phoenix in the zone, Natchoff volley, saved by Toth. Headed away by Jeremovic. Out to the chest of Miller, volleys it, shoots it, deflected by Satevsky. They call a handball on Miller. Free kick, New York. 10:09 left to go first quarter.
This is that good line of Phoenix. George Natchoff, he's been the key player. He's got 4 goals in the first 2 games. National team player, World Cup player for the United States. He's only about 24, 25 years old. And there's the man that's running the whole show, number 6, Mr. Bill Maxwell.
Freddie Gagarev moves it on the ricochet for Dragan Nikitovic. Plays it off the hardwood for Satevsky. Off the Arrows logo, Jeremovic right point. Mike comes in, lays it off for Freddie. Dragan can't get the handle, and Carlos Zavaleta is there for the Inferno. Moves it back to his keeper. And with 9:47 left to go in chapter number 1 of the game, Phoenix moves up, trying to equalize as the Arrows hug on to a 1-0 lead. Davidson with Marcantonio. Arrows in their own defensive third. Davidson can't get by Marcantonio and Satevsky double team. Whistle by Bill Maxwell. And an indirect free kick upcoming for Phoenix. They call obstruction on New York.
For the first time in the first quarter, Mike Jeremovic, the rookie, the young 18-year-old, is in. You know, the pressure got a little bit to him the other day. He made a couple mistakes that he normally doesn't, but here he is matched up with Georgi Natchoff inside the box now.
Carlos Zavaleta will take the free kick, goes to the corner for Natchoff. Satevsky is there. Arrows playing a very crisp game so far. Jeremovic gets it out, intercepted by Miller. Arrows did this a few times Saturday night. They gave it away in their own defensive third. This time they don't. Nikitovic, 3-on-2 for New York, broken up by Miller. Taylor way out of the net, Miller along the boards. Plays it on the carom
Al, don't be surprised if you see Dragan Nikitovic playing a little bit of a different role tonight. He's going to come more from deeper behind to make up for that midfield play that's needed.
We'll see what he does here. Satevsky, saved by Taylor. Marcantoni, sets it down for Branko Segota. Such a long name, I almost didn't get it all out.
That was really a great give and go between Branko and Damir. It should have been in. I think Damir could have done well to lift the ball up over the keeper, but a very well executed preparation for that goal scoring opportunity.
Nice quick distribution by Toth. Ahead for Gagura. Back from Marcantonio. Shot goes wide by inches. And around, hit the post again. By Segota.
Van was lucky on that one. That ball got away from underneath him. He almost got away, or he did get away actually with making a critical mistake.
Punch save, another shot, that goes wide, another shot, saved by Toth. It was 3 for a quarter for Phoenix, and they didn't knock it home. 2 great saves by Toth.
Saved that one by the seat of his pants.
Just got a handle on it.
Here we see the great shot by Branko. Now look, it goes underneath Van, comes back, hits the inside of the post, and comes right back to him. That's what you call using your post as your friend.
And then continuing on that play, great action in front of the Arrows net. But still, Phoenix has yet to put one on the board. Arrows lead at 1-0. 8 minutes, 9 seconds left to go. Quarter number 1. Final game of the MISL quarterfinals. Whoever wins this goes on to St. Louis. Header by Toth, a dangerous play by him, although he was out of the penalty area. De Leon comes in, bounced off the play by Tuksha. Shot blocked by St. Lot. That goes up to the crowd. Good cover up by the Arrows defense, as Toth really gave the ball away at his own red line.
I tell you, France is going to have a tattoo on his cheek. It's going to say the big L, big I, SL, MISL, the initials of the ball.
And now Phoenix gives it away. Gagurov at his own red line. Marinello intercepts, and he goes back for Jenkins. 7:48 left to go, quarter number 1. Phoenix now moves slowly into the New York zone. Marinello played well in the series, plays it on off the hardwood. Moving in on Tuksha, comes to center. Blocked by Tuksha, out for Jenkins. Tries to take the shot on the half volley, had the notion at least, didn't follow through, and now Tuksha's double teamed along the boards. Dorico and St. Lot backing him up in the penalty area. St. Lot is there to tackle it away. Out for Fred Gagurov. Arrows with a 2-on-1. Segota left side, Verdi back for Phoenix. Segota cuts to center, winds it up, steps on it, lays it off for St. Lot. Left footed drive, slap save Taylor. Off to the boards, cleared out by McDermott. Broken up by Tuksha. Just about 7 minutes left to go first quarter. Inside Gagurov, spins, fires, save by Taylor. Nice pass by Segota. Freddie couldn't get enough mustard on it.
But a great wheel and turn by Freddie. He did a 180, and he did very well. I think, and I mentioned this in the first game, any matchups with Roger Verdi, I think New York has to take advantage of. This time it's Freddie that's matched up with him.
Dorico at the midfield line.
New York has Phoenix a little bit on the ropes here, so it's important for them to get a goal here rather than try to go back.
Certainly if one team came out smoking, it was New York. Franz St. Lot, although Phoenix has had a couple of good shots.
You know, in that first game that we saw in Phoenix, they scored a lot of timely goals that came at the very correct time, and they kept constant heat on New York. Saturday here in New York, it was the other way around. New York kept on going ahead by the odd goal, and it's so important to play with an advantage. Psychologically, it's such an important role.
Well, back the other way, Dorico takes it away from Marinello. Back the other end, Freddie Gagurov took a shot, saved by Taylor. Freddie then quickly turned away to look upfield. Meanwhile, the ball was dropped by Taylor, and it laid there in the crease for a good couple of seconds. And now Tuksha in control for New York. He goes with Alberto, Segota, Gagurov, and Dorico. Arrows on top 1-0 as they try to defend their MISL championship for the 3rd year in a row. They're the only team ever to win an MISL championship. We go end zone and watch Vic Davidson bring the ball into the New York zone.
See, don't be surprised if Phoenix scores a goal here, Al.
Miller, shot high off the windows, skips into the glass, off the glass, and into the crowd. It will be a goal kick New York. Zoltan Toth will put the ball in play. 5 minutes, 45 seconds as we have 9:15 gone by in quarter number 1 of the game. Hope you've enjoyed the entire season on Sports Channel, and if the Arrows go on to the championship, it won't be over. Should the Arrows go on to the championship, that's if they win this game first. You can watch that game live on Sports Channel. That will be Sunday afternoon at 2. But of course, a couple of big hurdles in the way before that. One is Phoenix, and if the Arrows got by Phoenix, they would play Baltimore in the semifinal on Friday night. Off the boards for Natchoff, marked by Dorico. And once again, the biggest crowd response comes from Bob Nightengale off the organist's fingertips. Inside, Toth kicks it away along the boards. Ball still loose. Dorico there with a little help from Toth, clears it out. Here's a break for Segota with Gagurov. Bronco coming in. Saved by Van Taylor. For about the 10th time in this series, Broncos come in full-fledged on the right side and just blasted it, and Taylor's been able to come up and make the save. Back comes Phoenix. Davidson in the New York zone. Cuts, shot, rebound, out for Alberto. Knocked back by Megaludis. Zoltan gets the handle on it. His outlet pass for Gagura. We're going goal line to goal line in this game. Freddie loses the handle, and Verdi takes advantage of it. Van Taylor out for Peter Miller. Miller met at the red line by Alberto. Tackled down and a whistle. And Luis, a little bit of a sportsmanship. Lifts Miller.
See, here we have a bit of a mismatch. Miller, very strong, powerful player. There we see a good trip because Lewis is going with a hip tackle. A little bit of a mismatch in strength and force. Lewis much more of a finesse player. Miller, strong, rugged character.
Then Luis lifted him off the turf. Back to
Miller,
the live
in fact, is so rugged, he leads the league in ruggedness. 53 minutes in the penalty box this year.
For a long time it was San Francisco. Miller took the lead near the end of the season. Miller, up they go, cleared out by Megaludis for Alberto. Luis bangs it off the board, stolen away by Phoenix's Carlos Zavaleta. Now Miller on the carom, looks inside, met by Alberto. Beautiful tackle by Luis. Somehow he stayed with the ball. Alberto showing no signs of the slightly pulled groin. Sliding pass ahead for Segona with a break. Volleys it away from Jenkins. Coming inside. Cuts to the right. Pulls it back, and he's double tackled, and they steal it away. Phoenix whips it around in their own zone. Now approaches the midfield line. The crowd didn't like it. Davidson can't get to the pass, but Toth does for New York.
New York standing allowed a lot more than they did in the beginning of this quarter.
Jungle along the boards. Coming inside. Held by Watson. Resulting whistle by Bill Maxwell, the referee. And we will have a direct free kick upcoming for New York.
New York Arrow, direct free kick.
Jungle unappreciative of the call. We're looking at the three-time MISL MVP. Watch it here.
But this is a good call now. Steve gets the ball, beats his defender Watson. Now the referee wants to make sure he doesn't take the advantage. You see Steve is ahead. Now if he would have maintained possession of the ball, the referee would have let it call on. So it was a little bit slow, but it was the correct call. It was perfect calling.
Arrows give it away on the direct free kick, and now Davidson lays it up for Leroy DeLeon. Phoenix changing on the fly. Megaludis back for New York. They race to the corner. Toth comes out, bangs it off the boards. Jenkins' shot is wide. Off the boards by Alberto. Jenkins hoping to catch Zoltan Toth off guard as Zoli came out to clear the ball. Jenkins thought he could catch it before he got back. Here's Bronco for New York. 3:20 left to go, quarter number one. Segoda's pass deflected, but Megaludis in the right place, right time to take it back. Now Strenisser. Gino looks inside. Alberto. High post for Jungle. Pulls it back. Alberto! Save! And a save by Taylor. Arrows with a great 1-2 punch. Unable to knock it in.
And I thought baseball was a game of inches.
That was a beautiful play.
That certainly was. But again, indoor soccer, very small spaces. You must execute everything very quickly and correctly. That time, a little bit of a mistake. It results in a save rather than a goal.
Zoltan looks calm and cool so far. As the season came to a close, Zoltan wound up fourth in the MISL with a 4.36 goals against average. And to show you how close him and Shep were in the stats, only 0.02 of a percentage point separated Toth and Messing at the end of the season.
New York doing an excellent job here in keeping possession. Phoenix is playing hard pressure, matching up man-to-man all over the field. That time they used the goalkeeper. New York used the goalkeeper to beat a free man. So Zoli's skills with the ball, with the feed, really helped out. There we go, see it again.
The 50-50 loose balls going New York's way so far in the game, but the Arrows only leading 1-0. They have come close on a number of occasions so far. We have 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Let's watch this last chance for Jungle.
See, now the defender always looks to turn. Notice Luis Alberto that time try to tuck it around. Ball rebounds back to Steve. He gets it. It's loose. He still doesn't have it. Watson is there to help him recover.
Back live. Break for New York. Satevsky. Shot is wide. Header. Saved by Taylor. What a save by Van Taylor off the header by Segona. Right now, Van Taylor's the player of the game.
They're applauding him on the bench.
Well, that should really lift the spirits of the Inferno. McDermott, shot blocked by Strenisser. Out for Marinello. Under a minute and a half left to go first quarter. Marinello left-footed drive. Saved by Toth. And at the other end, Toth is making his share of fine saves. Gagura gets away from Verdi. 2-on-1 New York. Freddie coming in. Goal!
talking about is the fact that he didn't lay it off to Steve. He created the same opportunity in the last game, drew the defenders towards him, and he played it to his teammate. That time, Watson does not come to challenge him, just the goalkeeper. Note the goalkeeper comes out, Freddie shoots past him, puts it into the net. So a very good, interesting play by the defense of Inferno, but it didn't get through Freddie Gugarev. So far, he has been the man of the for New York during these playoffs. It's his goal number 6 in this short playoff series.
Meanwhile, Bronco, the second leading scorer for New York in the playoffs. That was his 14th playoff goal in his 3 years with New York. And the Arrows lead it 2-0. A crusher for Phoenix because Van Taylor was really coming up big. And now Phoenix in the New York zone. Davidson in the slot. They crank up the music. Slap save by Tolbert. The shot by Miller. And that goes up to the crowd. Well, let's take you back down the other end of the field. We'll watch a save by Van Taylor. Amazing.
Just before that, Van Taylor made this save. Now Damir comes back, shoots it off the wall. Look at Steve, diving head ball, or Bronco rather. And there's that man, Van Taylor, played his soccer at North Carolina.
Well, Phoenix comes right back on the corner kick, gets the goal. It looked like Vic Davidson in front. The Arrows misplayed it. With only 46 seconds left to go in the first quarter, Phoenix stays in there again.
There he is.
And we'll take it off the corner kick.
Off the corner kick, this whole thing is recreated. Pete Miller plays the ball, comes through, here's the dummy run. Nanchov hits it. The first save is made by the goalkeeper, Zoli. But there he is, the nemesis, Vic Davidson, great international star. His 4th game of the series so far. And Phoenix gets back into this game. They will not die. They bend, they're like a willow twig, but they do not break.
40 seconds left to go. Davidson, his 4th of the playoffs. Nanchov the assist at 14-14. Arrows now lead it 2-1. Around the board, saved again by Taylor. Some great saves so far in this game. Also some great shooting. Phoenix taking advantage of the misplay by New York's defense. 23 seconds. Miller off the boards. Toth somehow clears it. Shot by Miller. Satevsky there. Slides it ahead for Mark Antonio. 16 seconds left to go. Gugarev leading the New York Arrow attack. He moves across the red line. Met by Verdi. They both go down and a whistle. This will be a direct free kick, New York, with 9 seconds left to go in quarter number 1.
Hey, George! New York Arrows direct free kick.
We see Freddie coming down. Now watch, he pushes the ball to his right. Davidson gets a 2-on-1. And now watch Roger Verdi, number 2, taken down. Sliding tackle. Takes the legs out from under Freddie. And a direct kick for New York.
And that will do it. About the sounds to end quarter number 1 here at the Nassau Coliseum. The Arrows unable to take advantage of the free kick 9 seconds before the end of the first quarter. So we played 15 minutes here at the Nassau Coliseum. It's the New York Arrows 2 and the Phoenix Inferno 1. Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar back here at the Nassau Coliseum. We're in between quarter number 1 and quarter number 2. The Arrows lead Phoenix by a score of 2-1. Recapping quickly, the Arrows got on the board just seconds into the game. They eventually led 2-0, and then Phoenix came back only 46 seconds before the close of the first quarter. And that's where we sit right now. Goals for New York by Segota and Gugarev. Freddie having one hell of a playoff series. Vic Davidson not doing so bad himself. He's now got 4 playoff goals, a big one for the Phoenix Inferno. But Nick, so far, I think the big player has been Van Taylor of Phoenix. He stopped the Arrows on a number of great opportunities, and I think it would be easily 4-5-1 if Van really wasn't on his game.
Yes, he was, and this has been the story in the previous 2 games. Van is doing the job. He was the 3rd starter game in the loss for his team. But again, I think Georgi Nanchov, Marianello we didn't mention yet, Al. He's having a super series. Number 7, look for him. He's got 3 goals so far. Davidson, everybody knows about. But Marianello, Nanchov are the key players to get the goals. Then you got Peter Miller. In the back, let's not forget the defenders. They've been so crucial. Watson, Jenkins, and then another fellow who I think is going to be a key for Phoenix. Number 11, McDermott. Midfielder, he's got to have a good game. Had a great one in the first one, but not the second game.
All right, here's a look at what happened in the first quarter. We'll spell it out for you. 17 seconds into the game, you see Bronco Segota's 14th career playoff goal from Steve Jungle on a weird play and a misplay by Phoenix. Then Freddie Gugarev, his 10th career playoff goal from Zoltan Toth on a great outlet pass at 13:47. Phoenix notched one back. Davidson is 14th from Nanchoff, only 46 seconds before the end of the first quarter. We'll tell you the stats right now, where the Arrows 25 shots, Phoenix at 14, a big advantage, almost twice what Phoenix had. Saves by Van Taylor, 13 of the 25 New York shots were on him. Toth made 5 saves on the 14 Phoenix shots. Arrows 2, Phoenix 1. Final game of the best-of-3 series in the MISL quarterfinal playoffs. Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar. We've got Van Taylor, green and black to the right side. He's the goalkeeper for Phoenix. Zoltan Toth filling in for the injured Shep Messing, still being bothered by the strained ligaments in his right knee. Zoltan wearing black and red to the left side. Arrows wearing their home blue with red and white trim. They're defending the goal to the left. Phoenix in yellow and red. And here's Jenkins with the ball. Goes to the corner with Nanchoff. Off in front. Bounded away by Segota. And now Tuksha. The Arrows go with Sotevsky. Segota, Jungle. Mark Antonio and Tuksha. Here's Segota crossing the halfway line. Lays it off for the racing Sotevsky. Shot in front. Misses wide. Jungle was wide open left side. Off the boards. Miller in control for Phoenix. He races out of his own zone. Crosses into New York real estate. Crossfield for Nanchoff. Mark Antonio out to meet him. In front. Davidson missed it wide. Off to the boards inside for Mark Antonio. Ahead for Broncos, Segota. Goal line to goal line. We pick up right where we left off at the end of the first chapter of the game. Segota pulls it back away from Nanchoff. Just underway, quarter number 2.
New York is lucky that Davidson didn't put the ball in the back of the net that time. He miscued, something you won't see him do very often.
Jungle up in the air. Alberto pursues it to the corner. He's met there by Nanchoff. Out for Segota. Centering in the slot for Tuksha. Had a big goal in Phoenix. Slap save by Van Taylor to the corner off the rocket by Tuksha. What a shot. Now for Nanchoff again. He controls it in his own zone for Jenkins.
Al, we've talked during the season about the statistics and how important shots on goal are. The fact that most teams outshoot New York. Let's just watch this.
All right, Tuksha cross field from Jungle. Val stays with it nicely. Out for Bronco. Bronco top of the arc. Lets one go. Blocked by Jenkins. You talk about shots advantage. Fourth quarter in Phoenix Thursday night. Arrows had 3. Shot slap save by Taylor. That goes to the corner off the head of Watson. And Saturday night, the game the Arrows won, Phoenix only had 8 shots on goal in the fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter has been the nemesis for each team on alternate occasions.
In the game, St. Louis, Buffalo in Buffalo Saturday, which St. Louis won 6-5 to get them into the playoffs in their home Checker Dome. They took 27 shots in the entire game. Buffalo, the losing team, took 62. So there's a little bit of a difference in statistics. It's the quality.
That's right.
When you get them, put them in the net.
How many times have you heard that? It's not how many, it's how good they were. Well, tomorrow night on Sports Channel, there's more NBA basketball when the New Jersey Nets host the Boston Celtics at Piscataway. Join Steve Albert and Mike DiTomaso for all the exciting action tomorrow night at 8 p.m. That's the Nets and Celtics live from Rutgers, right here on Sports Channel, your box seat to New York sports at home.
I tell you, those Celtics were in a couple playoffs, weren't they?
A few. They got a couple of banners on the roof, and that's what it's all about. And the Arrows have 2 up there now, looking to put another one up in the rafters of the Coliseum. Well, the Islanders have a whole bunch up there. This has been a year of championships for this building. Phoenix, slap save by Toth. Headed away by Alberto, back for Zoltan.
And the Phoenix players looking for a penalty. They're claiming that David DeRico touched the ball with his arm that time rather than his chest.
Crossing the midfield line, Nick Megaludis. His pass intended for Segota goes awry. Let me tell you what the other playoffs looked like. Cleveland was beaten by Baltimore. So far, in all the playoff games, only one time has the home team lost, and that was Buffalo in the loss against St. Louis. And we will recap all the playoff series sometime later in the telecast. As Freddie Gagura breaks into the Phoenix zone, attempts a pass to himself from the 7th man, the boards. It didn't quite work, and we have 11:45 left to go first half. 2-1, Arrows lead Phoenix. Game 3, best of 3 quarterfinals. Arrows break it up. Zoltan lobs it over the Phoenix front line for Segota. Back heels it to himself across the midfield line. Freddie Gagarev left wing waiting. Segota pulls it back, cuts to center, moves it over for Nick Megaludis.
New York is running much better tonight, and one of the reasons is that the Phoenix team is not staying with them as tight as they did in the first 2 games.
Crowd, the rhythmic chant, they come to life. Phoenix on the charge. Megaludis, nice tackle away from Verdi. Verdi stays with it, though. Cuts it upfield for Miller, who was on his way off the field. 11:06 left to go. Well, Miller will have to stay on. He slides it ahead for De Leon. Plays it on the ricochet off the boards. Nice play by DeRico to slap it away. We have a whistle. Pushing call against De Leon of Phoenix. It will be a New York Arrow free kick with 11 minutes exactly.
Well, I think the closeness of this series speaks about the closeness of the league. Here we took a team that had that was in the bottom of the cellar. They were the 8th team, the final last team to make the playoffs. against the old pros, the champs. The team that only lost 5 in the entire season. And look how close they're making it.
The Arrows are being warned now that they are unable to make a change on a free kick. They will have to wait for the ball to be put in play. So the next time it probably will be a 2-minute penalty. Dorico puts the ball in play from New York on the bounce back pass from Toth. Ahead for Gugurev, marked by Verdi. Freddie loses it to Verdi, and now Zavaleta for Phoenix. Across the red line for the Inferno leading scorer, Vic Davidson has the only Phoenix goal of the game. Davidson into New York zone. Marked by Megaludis. Out at center for Zavaleta. Right side, Natchov. Inside, Miller. They race to the corner. Natchov with Dorico. Toth is there. Lobs it ahead for Segota. 2-on-1 New York. Bronco breaking in. Sonny's all along left side, and Bronco could not get the pass off. Nice play by Verdi to stay with the speedy Segota. And now Verdi crosses the midfield line. Gugurev racing to get back for New York. Verdi shot off the boards. Return off the windows. Out across the top of the penalty arc where Freddie is there. Another 2-on-1 break for New York. Gugurev, Segota right. Freddie lays it off for Bronco. Segota outside. He's got Freddie open. Tackled away again by Zavaleta this time. And now Davidson for Phoenix. 2 good charges for New York.
Yeah, so Bronco should have laid that ball off. He's looking to do too many things individually here.
Bronco looks very charged up for the game. No doubt about it. Zavaleta. Marked by Nikitovic. Shot is blocked. Dragon takes it to the boards. It looks like that will skip into the crowd. Who do they give it to? They give it to the Inferno. And it will be a kick in for Phoenix with 9:45 left to go first half. Arrows 2, Phoenix 1. Al Troutwick, Nick Slatar live from the Coliseum in Uniondale. And this is what the playoffs look like. First of all, the series you're seeing now, it's tied 1-1 as the Inferno beat the Arrows 10-6 and then had a deja vu. The Arrows returned the favor on Saturday night. The Baltimore Blast beat Cleveland in overtime, and Baltimore destroyed Baltimore in Cleveland, but then Baltimore won it at home, and that's a good indication of this home field advantage in the playoffs this year. And as we'll show you later, only one time has the visiting team won a game in the playoffs. Great save by Toth, shot by Jenkins, goes through the crease. Davidson attempted the header, couldn't get to it. We go end zone to give you a good look at the way Phoenix sets it up. They go left point for Jenkins. Jenkins moving in. Goes to the corner, scissor side kick attempted by Natchov, taken off the glass by Dorico. Leads it for Nikitovic, racing along the boards with Jenkins. 9:14 left to go. Nikitovic has Gugurev, lays it off Alberto to Freddie, coming in, shot, pulls it back inside, off the post, Alberto wide. Goes to the corner for Miller. Luis missing his second great chance of the game. Freddie on the rebound. Goal! The Arrows stayed with it, and it paid off.
There were certainly enough goal-scoring opportunities created that time. You got to keep punching and plugging. Now here we go. Luis Alberto sticks a great left foot to it. Just misses, comes back. Now watch. Here's the key mistake by Pete Miller. Instead of playing the ball safely out of there, he tries to keep it and dribble it. Gets it back. Now watch. Freddie comes back, sticks it up high into the corner of the net. Although Van got a goal on it. There he is, 11th career playoff. But the key is, there it is again. He's got his second of the game, number seven in 2 games, almost 2.5 games. Freddie Gugurev, the man for New York to do it.
Boy, is he having some kind of series. Now Phoenix goes right back into the New York zone. Nikitovic gets the assist. Gugurev the goal. 6:01 the time, and the Arrows lead it 3-1. And now Nikitovic goes to the corner. Taylor is out. Battle for the ball. It skips out. Taylor races back. Gugurev loose in front. Verdi is there. Gets it to his keeper. 8.5 left to go first half. 3-1. And this game's been back and forth and back and forth. Some great shots, some great plays, some great saves. Right now the Arrows lead the action 3-1.
There's another player that needs to have a very good game. Franz Saint-Lot. He's got to pick up that extra load.
Oh, I got to say thank you to Franz's mother and Nikki Megaludis' mother for making 2 of the greatest meals I've ever had. 2 weekends ago it was Franz's mother for a Haitian meal that was fabulous, and then Nikki Megaludis' mother, who made a fabulous Greek dinner for myself and assorted guests over the past weekend. 8:04 left to go first half. Arrows 3 as Bill Maxwell lays it down for Franz Saint-Lot. The Arrows put it in play.
Al, do you note the difference in the intensity of Phoenix today compared to the previous 2 games?
Well, it seems that either they're tired or the Arrows have taken the wind out of their sails with the early goals.
Or they played over their heads in the first 2 games.
That could be. You were announcing over your head for so long, and then you finally got good. Verdi to the left point. At center for Marinello. Spins, fires, goes wide. Outside for McDermott. He bounces it off the window. Saved by Toth. He rolls it out for Gagarev, racing with Jungle. Freddie lobs it ahead for Steve. It's a race to the boards between Watson and Jungle. Steve wins it, looks outside. The Lord of all indoors for St. Lot. Gets it outside for Gino Strenicer at 35, the oldest arrow for Tuksha. Coming in, lays it inside. Gagarev return, down low St. Lot, off inside, rolls along the goal line, still loose, right as wide. No one could knock it in. Great opportunity for New York, good teamwork, just didn't go in. Taylor picks it up, rolls it out for Marinello, and now it's Phoenix's turn.
And the key now is the New York defense. Look, Gino Strenicer is playing a picture-perfect defense. He stays very tight on Davidson, and he steps up. He does not allow him. It's like punting a man in basketball.
Here's the break for Segota again. About the fourth time in the game he's come in. Segota cutting. Shot is wide. Jungle couldn't get the rebound. St. Lot is out there. Left side. Winds it up. No, fakes it. Coming inside. Lays it for Tuksha. Bronco in control. Marked by Jenkins. Inside. St. Lot gets underneath it too much. And that goes up to the crowd.
Look at this. Now watch. Tuksha strikes the ball. Here he goes. And look, it rolls along the goal line. Comes out for Watson to clear.
Well, Bill Maxwell does a little groundskeeping, but right now we have a timeout on the field, and I believe it was called by Phoenix. 6:31 remaining in the first half. Arrows lead Phoenix. Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar, Nassau Coliseum, Uniondale, Game 3, quarterfinal playoff series, Major Indoor Soccer League 1980-81. These two teams battling for the right to pay the airfare out to St. Louis. For Phoenix, simply a stop on the way home. Well, right now, let me tell you that it's a New York sports doubleheader this Saturday, right here on Sports Channel, featuring the Islanders and the Nets. First, the Stanley Cup champion New York Islanders take on the Pittsburgh Penguins in their race for first place in the NHL. That action starts at the strange time of 5 p.m. Then immediately following the Islanders, there's New Jersey Nets basketball, and the Nets go up against their Cross River rivals, the New York Knickerbockers. Catch the Islanders at 5 and the Nets and Knicks at 8. Live right here on Sports Channel, your box seat to New York sports at home. Well, the Arrows lead by a score of 3-1. Phoenix's timeout expired. Goals for New York by Segota once and Fred Gagarev twice. Freddie's got to be the player of this particular series. Meanwhile, if we look at the quarterfinal playoffs, you see that St. Louis won at home over the Stallions 6-4, then went to Buffalo in front of 16-4, SRO in Buffalo, and they beat the Stallions anyway 6-5. Chicago won at home, and then Wichita won their last two home games 6-4 and 8-6. So it's been home team power in the MISL in this year's playoffs. Should the Arrows win this game, it would be the Arrows in Baltimore in Game 1 of the semifinals, St. Louis and Wichita in the doubleheader at the Checker Dome in St. Louis Friday night. If the Inferno win, it would be St. Louis, Phoenix, Wichita, Baltimore, and we'll let you think about that for a little while. The Arrows lead right now 3-1. 6:15 left to go first half. Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar. Now Phoenix taken away by Jungle to the midfield line for Val Tuksha. Whistle by our referee Bill Maxwell. Stopping play, and this will be a New York Arrow free kick.
And to give you an idea how much Adrian Webster has done for this team, the Phoenix Inferno, New York met them twice during the regular season, beat them 9-5, and Phoenix 10-1, the biggest margin of a win for any MISL team this year. And you know that the magic numbers have been 10-6 in the playoffs. So even though it's been a 4-goal difference in both games, the play certainly has been much closer than that.
All right, Miller crosses into the New York zone, met by Tuksha. Laying it off for Jenkins? No, now he does. Tackled away by Tuksha. Miller hesitated and allowed Val to recover. And now a 2-on-1 break for New York. Segota coming in, he's got Jungle right. Segota cuts it away, off the boards, off the glass. Arrows looking for a handball. It was not called. Jungle looking to the alternate referee. No reaction from him. That's Jeff Mantell. Two very able-bodied referees on the field this evening. 5:24 left to go first half. Davidson cuts to center. Met by Strenicer. Loses the battle. Gino slides it ahead. Another break for New York. Segota coming in right side. Shot is wide. Jungle couldn't catch up through the slot, and it missed by about 10 feet, just missing the MISL logo. Back comes Phoenix to the midfield line. Davidson.
You mentioned the MISL logo. I think it would do Bronco well to aim for it sometimes. Instead of going for the shot, shoot at the logo. And this way, Jungle or somebody else, maybe Freddie or somebody else, will run out and get the ball. In other words, use the boards.
On the near side. That MISL logo is a great target. You're coming down the right side. You bounce it up there. The rebound usually goes right through the penalty area. And if you've got somebody waiting there, it's a great way to play the boards and score. Tuksha.
Wichita does that better than anyone, I think.
Bronco Segura coming in. He's got Jungle in the slot. Shot. Goal! Bronco Segura.
Well, no doubt about it. Phoenix is flat. Notice how much time this is Watson, doesn't step up. Bronco gets the ball. There he goes. Watson hit the inside of the post. And then number 6 turned his back to it. He knows it's his fault. He must shut his man down. Can't give him that much room. Look, he's just too far away. Bronco shoots and goes. 15th goal of his playoff career, but most important, 7th one of this playoff series.
Val Tuchia gets the assist, the official time, 10:22, and the Arrows have a 3-goal cushion. They lead it 4-1. And now
defense
Phoenix
again is the key. Keep the pressure on, the goals will come. But this is a different Phoenix team. You know, when you play one game series, any team basically has a chance to win. But anytime you go into a prolonged series, then talent certainly and quality rises to the top.
Zoltan Toth gives it away to Phoenix. De Leon lays it off for Zavaleta. 4:10 left to go. Half. Zavaleta lofts one in the corner. On the double bounce out for De Leon. De Leon with his back to Mark Antonio. Spins right through the penalty area. No one home for Phoenix. Marinello out for Zavaleta. Was a big factor in game 1 at the Vets Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix. De Leon also a great player in that particular game. Right now moves away from Mark Antonio. Rips it around the boards. Shot, goal for Phoenix. John McDermott makes it 4-2. Phoenix working the ball around, finding the open man. Reminiscent of the Knicks in '79, they waited patiently. The open man was McDermott, and he blasted it by.
There we see the supporting cast again. That young man right there, John McDermott, had a great game. He was the dynamo, one of the dynamos, he and Miller of the midfield for Phoenix. This time we see De Leon doing some great work on the side. He's matched up with Mark Antonio. Watch him step over the ball, pulls it back. Now watch this, outside the foot dribble, hits the ball. And look at the funny bounce. The ball bounces back out to McDermott, hits it first time. I don't know, the ball either hit a body or hit something there and came right out. Zoltan is saying, what happened there?
Oh,
John McDermott gets a good goal to put his team within striking distance.
Good illustration of the quick reflexes necessary to play this game. So John McDermott, who went to school in Las Vegas, Nevada, makes it 4-2 New York Arrows from De Leon at 11:14. It's Arrows 4-2, 3:35 left to go first half. Across the midfield line, De Leon, or rather this is Gaston for Phoenix. His first appearance in the series. Daniel Gaston, a 24-year-old defender, making his first walk onto the turf since these two teams began battling last Thursday in Phoenix.
And one of the reasons why he's playing now is because Adrian Webster is trying to put some blood in his team. His team is not running as well as they did in the past, and for them to stay with New York, they must keep those wheels turning. Otherwise, lights out.
3:18 left to go in the first half. McDermott continuing. Marinello on the pass. Moving inside. Cuts to center. Met by Satevsky. Good marking by Demir. To the corner for McDermott again. McDermott back heels to himself. Wheels it around outside. Inside Gaston. Met before he got there by Fred Gugurev. Gaston does well to keep the ball in the New York zone.
And there we see the New York defense. All 5 players are inside their defensive third, matched up.
Great opportunity for McDermott to notch number 3 for Phoenix. Missed it wide. Outside for De Leon. Getting by Gugurev. Cutting to center. Getting by Megaludis. Getting by Satevsky. Loose in front. Cleared by Mark Antonio. Good play by Carmen to back up his defenders. Satevsky dumped on the play. Gugurev in control for New York. Nice pass for Jungle. Steps on it. Stops it. Met by Watson. And Watson looks like he'll beat Jungle to the ball. Steve thrown to the turf. No whistle. And Phoenix is allowed to play on. Cross midfield for their big gun, Davidson. Davidson 1-on-3, a slight disadvantage.
Well, he's going to wait now for his friends to arrive. See, this is one of the things that was different, whereas Phoenix, the first 2 games, was busting to get into the attack. That time they're a lot slower.
Now Marinello having a tug-of-war with Megaludis, trying to pick. The pocket was Megaludis. The Arrows take it away. Gaston for Davidson. Now 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Davidson crossfield for Natchov. 4-2, Arrows lead it. Natchov moving in along the right wing. Shot deflected by Satevsky. That'll stay in play. Nice trap by Davidson off the long high shot Miller.
Well, he's a very skilled player. Scottish international, played about 50 times for his national team, and he's a skillful player. He comes here to play the game rather than do anything else.
I didn't get a look at what happened on the far side. They call a foul against New York. Steve Jungle's the one holding his head. It will be a direct free kick coming up for Phoenix. And as you hear, the crowd doesn't like it. And they probably wouldn't like anything that was called against New York at this particular point in the game. Well, 1:38 left to go. Stay with us at halftime. You'll meet the president and owner of the New York Arrows, Mr. John Luciano. A whistle called against Phoenix this time. Free kick upcoming for New York. They call a handball. Arrows with 2 goals from Branko Segota, his 6th and 7th on the playoffs this season, and 2 goals from Fred Gugurev, his 6th and 7th of the playoff series. Branko and Freddie playing their hearts out in all 3 games of this series. Right now, the Arrows lead it by a score of 4-2.
And again, we see how important defense is in a playoff tournament. We have to go back and say the defense of New York must play flawlessly. Don't give up a goal here. 4-2. Let them go into the locker room with a 2-goal difference.
Natchoff steals it away, cuts to center. Nice tackle by Megaludis to take it away, but Davidson is there, lays it off Natchoff. Comes inside, shot is high, off the windows, bounds to the corner. Natchoff in pursuit, he's met by Megaludis. Back to the midfield line, the Lord of all indoors, winning the race with Watson. Jungle cuts to center, Watson tackles it away, Steve stays with it. Watson fell down, he's quick back up. Crossfield pass by Alberto. Gugurev shot is wide, and Luis just tried to get his head up in the air, but his hands followed it, and it is an intentional handball called against New York.
Lewis looked like a goalkeeper on that one, but he tried to do a diving header, just couldn't get in time to meet the ball.
Under a minute now, 50 seconds. Phoenix in the New York zone. Natchoff on the ricochet, marked by Derrico. Natchoff looking for an opening. Met double team. Shot misses. Shot it by Miller. That goes up to the crowd. Somehow Natchoff squeezed it in through the defense, and it just missed by inches.
Here he is, Georgi Natchoff, the brother of Lewis, doing his magic, gets the shot through, almost goes in. You know, he got married just about a month ago. His brother Lewis took a day off from the Philadelphia schedule. They went out to Akron, Ohio, their hometown, where they played their college soccer, and he did the seal.
Along the boards, Jenkins plays it back for Van Taylor. We have 28 seconds remaining in the first half. Van Taylor, who's played so brilliantly through all 3 games, looking at a 4-2 deficit on the scoreboard. 15 seconds left. Derrico. And a whistle. They call it against Phoenix. Bill Maxwell illustrating which way it'll go.
New York Arrows, direct free kick.
Well, you got to look at it one more time.
This is a good matchup. Mike Umremovich has the strength to stay with Pete Miller. The ball gets played. You see after the shot, you see the elbow, the arm of Peter Miller around Mike's neck. So a very good call. New York gets the ball.
All right, Phoenix steals it away. Coming into the zone, Jenkins cuts it away to the corner for Davidson. But Phoenix is unable to beat the buzzer. And the first half comes to a close. Both teams retire to the locker rooms. We've played 30 minutes of the MISL quarterfinal playoff. It's the Phoenix Inferno 2, the New York Arrows 4. We'll be back.
So we're at halftime, and the New York Arrows lead the Phoenix Inferno, and that's not the really big surprise. The surprise maybe was that the Inferno was hanging in there, even though the Arrows didn't waste any time. We're back with Bob Nightengale, who covered the team and sports for the Arizona Republic newspaper back in the 70s and 80s. The Arrows got that early goal 17 seconds in, and this thing could have gone sideways in a hurry, but it's a real testament to how this team was playing under new coach Adrian Webster, and had been on a roll going to the playoffs, that they didn't fold in that first half. Tell me about Adrian Webster. You got to know him a little bit. He passed away just about a year ago. He seemed to have made a real difference in the tenacity of that team. You got to cover him more closely when you were, at least for a little bit, when you were the beat writer. What was Adrian Webster like as a coach and a person?
Yeah, just remember an energetic guy. The guys loved playing for him. Brought a lot of enthusiasm. Kind of reminds you of the new ASU coach in football. Just, a young guy. Guy with experience and a guy that kind of had a commanding presence. The guys warmed up to him pretty quickly, and he had a lot of respect.
Segota got the first goal. Fred Gugurev got the second late in the first, but then Phoenix threw a punch themselves. Vic Davidson scored with under a minute to go in the quarter. He was one of many UK players on this Inferno team in the first year. He was a Scotsman who scored 50 goals that season. That goal seemed to make it clear that it was going to be a fight, but we can't talk about this first half, Bob, without talking about Van Taylor in goal. Now, Henry Westmoreland had started a lot of time in the second half of the season. He started the season finale. He got pulled. Taylor came in, did real well, and in that first half, he kept this game from getting out of hand. Did you get to know Van Taylor at all, talk to him, interview him?
I'm sure I interviewed him and everything else, but I can't remember, like great anecdotes or anything like that about him. I do just remember as a whole, the group of Inferno were fun guys to be around. New sport, very friendly with the media friendly with the players. It was just kind of get to know each other. But I remember that everybody was very warm with the reporters that were around.
And they were tough. They hung in there. It was 4-1, but the Inferno wouldn't die. John McDermott from UNLV, a little guy, just 5'7", 140. He made it 4-2 with a goal. And again, the Arrows had gone 35-5, and they were just used to just blowing everybody out of the building. That wasn't happening, at least in the first half, so it looked like the Inferno at least had a fighting chance. So we're going to get you out to the third quarter, but before we do that, there are a couple of interesting interviews that we're going to take you to here in a second that Al Trautwig conducted during the break. One is with Arrows owner John Luciano. The other is with MISL Commissioner Earl Foreman. We'll show you those next, and then the second half. And then Bob and I will be back to recap the game, but more interestingly, what happened later, what we discovered about this team. I won't spoil it, but it involves tragedy, lawsuits, players not getting paid, the manager and GM fighting, and organized crime. Yes, you heard that. Definitely stick around for that. And if retro is your thing, maybe this channel is for you. Subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, or send us an email on the address at your screen, rewind@ken.com. Let us know if there's a game you want to see rewound. Check out our other videos. We'll bring you a new one each week. All right, back out to Long Island now with the Arrows leading the Inferno 4-2. This is Soccer Rewind.
We're at halftime. Al Trautwig with the man who makes my job and a lot of other people's jobs and a lot of entertainment on Long Island possible, Mr. John Luciano, president and owner of the New York Arrows. Mr. Luciano, welcome. The last game of the season, we finally got you on.
Thank you, Alan. It's nice to be here.
It's year 3 of the Arrows, and it seems that whenever people make plans, it's always a 5-year plan for this. And I think when the Arrows first began, I remember seeing an ad in the paper that says, we're here to stay, we've got a 5-year plan for success. As year 3 ends, how would you give a status report, or what would your report be?
Well, I mentioned before, I think that I'm extremely satisfied with the progress made to date. We did have a 5-year plan, and our projections are pretty much on the button. This is our 3rd year, as you mentioned, and we're exceeding our projections by about 8%, so I'm confident.
Now, the Arrows in their 3 seasons, they've been 16-8, 27-5, and 35-5. Undoubtedly one of the most successful teams in professional sports, bar none. It's a record that even George Steinbrenner would probably be envious of, but the accumulation of all these fabulous players, what role have you played in it?
Well, as I have said in the previous 2 years, each year we're going to try a little bit harder because I recognize each year it gets a little more difficult. I'm as nervous this evening as I was in year 1, maybe more so. But again, we'll try harder next year. We'll continue to try to field the best team possible. Thank you for the compliment with comparison to George Steinbrenner. He has the same philosophy.
Now, let's talk about George for a minute and his philosophy of running a team and possibly yours. It's spring training for the Yankees, and already the Yankees lose one to the Mets, and then they come back and lose another one, and the headlines all day are George yelling at Reggie, yelling at Dave, yelling at Greg Nettles, yelling at everybody, and that's his way of running the team. He sparks the team by getting heavily involved, going into the clubhouse, ranting and raving. How would you compare yourself, or how would you characterize yourself as an owner?
Well, with respect to ranting and raving, that's not my style at all. I prefer a very, very quiet, low-key approach. On the other hand, I think that a coach's job is to rant and rave when he needs to, and maybe George feels that that's what he needs to do. It's a difficult job when you have talent in the capacity of the Yankees or even the New York Arrows. A lot of talent, overwhelming talent, is sometimes very difficult to manage.
Now, if the Arrows win in this game, they lead right now by a score of 4-2. It's on to the semifinals in St. Louis, and there's been a lot of talk around this country of a Final Four, and for the most part, it's been of basketball in Philadelphia for the Final Four next weekend. Another Final Four will be in St. Louis for the MISL. What are your feelings about that format that's been developed this year for the indoor soccer?
Well, I thought earlier in the year the format was excellent. I really did. I do feel, however, that it's something to be discussed at our annual meeting in June. I think that it's a little unfair to have a semifinal game as a one-game series, and I think that's going to be one of the topics of discussion.
I guess the one area where it falls short is your fans. They've come out all season long. I guess the Arrows have averaged a little over 8,000. The end of the season, they had tremendous crowds, and then all the people come out. They get all geared up for the playoffs, and when their big shot finally comes, they've got to watch it on television. So I guess that's tough for them to take.
That's very true. Also, I've gotten a feel that I don't think that a game should be determined as a semifinal game in a one-game playoff. I don't think that's quite fair.
Well, what we're talking about now is the fact that the quarterfinals, what the Arrows are involved in now, is best of three. Semifinals is one game, and the championship is one game. If you have if you're having a bad game, it's all over quickly.
Well, that's the part that I think needs to be talked about, and I'm sure that the following year it'll be a little different and a little better for the fans as well.
Okay, one last question. Last year, the MISL proud of the fact that over 1 million fans walked through the turnstiles. This year, just short of 2 million. And next year, everyone's wondering, new franchises, divisional alignment, Madison Square Garden, perhaps. Tell me about the plans that you might have or that you think might happen in the MISL. And I think everybody's question, first off, is the Madison Square Garden.
Well, Madison Square Garden, of course, as everyone is aware of, has expressed interest in coming into indoor soccer. They've got confidence in the sport. We started a negotiation with respect to territorial rights. Right now, I'd rather not comment as to the status.
What about the rest of the league?
We have an expansion policy with respect to the league. We will expand for our next season, and we had a policy from year one that we will expand gradually and slowly, and we're adhering to the policy. We will expand next year.
Sir, it's a season you can be proud of as well as everybody else on the team, I believe. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Alan, and yes, I am.
Owner and president, and a man who will be anxiously watching the second half of this game, Mr. John Luciani. I'll continue with Nick Slatar, and our second half gets underway in about 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Stay with us. We'll bring you back to Uniondale right after this. We're back at halftime, and our bevy of important people continues right now with the commissioner of the Major Indoor Soccer League, Mr. Earl Foreman. Commissioner, I remember back when I was a little ball boy for the New York Nets, and you were the owner of the Virginia Squires, and you were one of the first people to introduce putting people on one side of the arena when it was on television. I remember walking into the Hampton Roads Coliseum for a playoff game that was on network television. I said to myself, my goodness, they've got only half the arena filled. But you were a bright person in doing that because it looked like the place was packed to the rafters. As you look back on those experiences, how do you compare the growth of that league and the beginning of that league to the one that you're the commissioner of now?
Well, as an aside, there are still some people that live in Hampton, Virginia today that feel that that arena only has one side. The comparison of the two leagues, I think, is the same as the comparison to MISL of if we were to compare it to the AFL, if we were going to compare it to the WHA, the World Football League, the WFL. The two component parts that those other leagues sought, and in all but one instance the AFL didn't achieve, were merger with the organized league and the national television contract. And they were created on the basis that both of those goals had to be achieved in order for them to survive. MISL was founded with neither goal needing to be achieved. There is nothing to merge into because we are the organized league in indoor soccer. And with the national television contract, we look forward to it. It's coming. It will be here in the near future, I believe. But we've done a job in 3 years without it, and we've proven that we were able to do it. The basic concept of this league is a dynamic sport, major league arenas, well-populated metropolitan areas. And here we are after 3 years drawing almost 2 million people this third year.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We'll talk more about the MISL when we bring you back to the Coliseum right after this message. Commissioner of the MISL, Mr. Earl Foreman. Commissioner, one thing that everyone's looking forward to is this big weekend. It's a weekend that's the MISL has been gearing up for 3 years for. But the question is, do you believe it's the right format for the playoffs?
Well, I think it was the right format for the playoffs this year. One of the advantages the league has had to date is that we've been able to be innovative and mobile. We're not tied to any inflexible rules as we go along, and if we feel that there is something that we can experiment with, we will do it, and that's what we've done this year. We kid no one. One of the reasons dictating this type of a format was the unavailability of our arenas for a longer playoff season where more teams would be playing more games at home. But I think we wedded the concept of the NCAA week, full week in St. Louis. There have been activities starting Monday, culminating in the tournament at the end of this week, to a 2 out of 3 quarterfinal series. I think, at least at this stage, we believe we've got the best of all possible approaches to the playoff. We'll take a look at it at the end of this tournament, take a look at our schedule making for next year, and then decide what we're going to do next year. But we're very pleased with the method that we put together for this year, and we think the results out in St. Louis this weekend will speak for themselves.
All right, now there has been talks of maybe a league over-expanding, maybe too many franchises. You know, we know what we're talking about here. Major Indoor Soccer League, is there a limit to the number of franchises you have? Is there a specific growth?
No, we haven't established a minimum, nor have we established a maximum. We're going to continue to stick to the type of criteria that we've set up in the past. Major metropolitan areas, good arenas. We've got our Green Bay and Wichita. If another city came along with an arena of 10, 11, 12,000 seats, and we felt that the other factors were there with good ownership, we'd admit them. We're primarily looking for the major city and the major arena, but we don't exclude a city, as I say, such as Wichita. But our plan for expansion will be as it has been in the past. It's going to be coordinated, it's going to be well thought through, and we're never going to expand for the sake of expanding. That we don't believe in.
One quick question. Have you ever thought of getting yourself and Pete Rozelle and Bowie Kuhn and all the major league commissioners together to kind of trade notes, learn from one another, and possibly plan? Because if there's one thing that's certain, it's that some sports seem to be heading for an endless road with the growing salaries and the decreasing revenues and the owners selling teams and things like that. Have you ever thought that there would come a time where you should all get together and say, hey guys, let's plan for the future and let's make sure we know what we're doing?
I think the possibility of that happening would only result in another Tower of Babel. But I do keep my lines open to dear friends in all of the leagues on an informal basis. And we meet for lunch occasionally and exchange notes and ideas, but never admit we've done it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll look forward to seeing you at the championship.
Thank you.
Commissioner Earl Foreman of the Major Indoor Soccer League. What a great job he's done, along with everyone else at MISL headquarters. We'll be back for the second half kickoff right after this. You're looking at the arithmetic from the first half. Arrows with the shots advantage by 8. The saves category goes to Van Taylor, although he gladly relinquished it. He made 18 saves, and Zoltan Toth made 9. As we get underway for the last half of action at the Nassau Coliseum this season, Zoltan Toth lays it out for David DeRico, who's teamed with Val Tuksha on defense. The midfield, Luis Alberto. On the front line is Bronco Segota and Steve Jungle. Van Taylor defends the goal to the left side, and amazingly, not a 2-minute penalty has been called yet in this game.
Why is that amazing?
Just for everything you thought this game would be. Al Troutwig and Nick Slatar. It's Nick the one that's trying to rile me up.
Oh, I'm not trying to rile you up. There's no violence in this game anyway. Very, very seldom.
All right, Arrows on top 4-2. This is the last and deciding game of the quarterfinals. McDermott coming in inside, knocked away by DeRico. Segota gives it away, down inside, Toth is out, and the ball is skipped over the glass by Davidson. Lucky break for New York as the Arrows gave it away in their own defensive third. Nail-biting time for Don Popovich, head coach of New York. That's what happened in the second quarter. Gagarev and Segota, the Arrows show. Gagarev and Bronco, brilliant this playoff series, and then McDermott got a brilliant goal, beating Zoltan Toth at 11-14 to make it 4-2, and that's where we sit right now. Once again, Phoenix up to the crowd. This will go to New York. Kick-in upcoming for New York. If the Arrows win this game, it's on to the semifinals. And we've been jokingly referring to this game as the game determining the right for one of the teams to pay for the airfare to St. Louis. But again, jokingly, St. Louis is on the way to Phoenix. 4-2. The Arrows looking to defend their MISL championship for the second time. They've won it twice, looking for number 3. They lead it here 4-2. Should they win, they go on to play Baltimore in the first of 2 semifinal games in St. Louis Friday night. Here comes Phoenix. Toth gets the return from Alberto. And then Sunday afternoon, if the Arrows get that far, you can watch the championship game right here on Sports Channel. Here's Tuchel coming in for New York. Slides it over for Steve Jungle. Jungle unmarked now. Davidson picks him up. Out for Tuchel. Val controls. Double team. Tries to get it inside for Jungle. Alberto tries the same. This time it finds the mark. 13-23, third quarter. Arrows 4, Phoenix 2, inside header, just missed by Segota. Shot is wide by Bronco. They had Taylor down and out. They had him strung up on the ropes. They couldn't knock it in. Arrows working hard. They keep the ball in the Phoenix zone, but Miller takes it away. He leads it to the big gun for the Inferno. Vic Davidson moving into the New York zone. Davidson met by Dorico. Davidson stays with it, rips it around the boards. Kick save by Toth. Zoltan looks over and passes it up for Alberto.
Here we see Tukes on the ball, takes a shot from pretty far out. The ball comes right back to Bronco. Nobody touches it, and then Bronco try to play to Steve for a goal.
Back live, Arrows take it away from Phoenix in their own defensive third. Dorico leads Jungle. Steve cuts back to center, slows up the play. Was going to center it for Megalunas, goes right through the crease. Steve off the mark by a couple of feet, intended for Segota right wing, and back comes Phoenix.
For the first time, we see a different matchup with Steve Jungle in this third quarter. Peter Miller, one of their key defenders as well as midfielder players so far in the series, is matched up with Steve. Watson is out.
What effect do you think that'll have?
It'll hurt Phoenix because they have to take one of their midfielders to play defense. So we see Cha-Cha Numdar coming in to play. You know, he only got about 13 seconds so far in the series. Now he's going to play more.
Megalunas golfs one of the corner. Bounds off the boards, out for Cha-Cha Numdar. Numdar met at the midfield line by Megalunas. The sliding tackle misses. Numdar coming in. It's 2-on-1. Strinister the only one back. De Leon. Hope covers up on the play. Phoenix missed it. 2-on-1 opportunity. Midfield line, Jungle. Tackled off the play by Miller. De Leon coming in. And he bangs it off the windows. Rips around the boards. And it will be a New York Arrow kick-in. Bill Maxwell signifying the indirect free kick. The arm in the air. The MISL announced their first team all-star team today. As you see, the Arrows well represented in the first team. Shep Messing, Steve Jungle, Bronco Segota, and David Dorico. That's 4 of the 6 starters that the Arrows usually put in. The second team was Richard Boot, Paul Kitson, Charlie Chordash, Vic Davidson, Doc Lawson, Jim Polahan, a former Arrow. Honorable mention went to Sepp Gattenhammer of Baltimore, Slobo Ilievsky, the St. Louis Steamers MVP, Joe Fink, Jorgen Christensen, Adrian Brooks, Ty Keogh, the Great American, and Tony Bellinger of St. Louis. Arrows played off on the rebound. To the midfield line for Jungle. Tackled down hard by Miller. 2-minute penalty, first of the game. Arrows will be up a man. Peter Miller sits down for taking down Steve Jungle. And the Arrows take their power play and will put it in effect. We'll pick it up from inside the penalty area.
You know, here's the guy that's been we've been talking about getting a lot of fouls, a lot of calls. Here he comes. Steve comes to meet the ball, takes him out from behind. Blatant trip, unnecessary because it was in the middle third of the field. She said, no, what he should just do is prevent Steve from turning on the ball, not go for the tackle because he's got position on you. You're never going to get it. Big deal. He can't score from the middle of the field. Peter Miller, poor foul. He's going to put his team in a hole now. Plus, he hurt himself on that.
That's Peter Miller being attended to by the Phoenix trainer. He's being helped off to the penalty box. That's an insult. You get the penalty called, you get hurt in the process.
That hurts.
Well, the Arrows have had a 43% efficiency in their power play, 3-7. Phoenix, meanwhile, 43% penalty killing efficiency. They've given up 3-7. That stands to reason. No, that should be reversed. If it's 43 for New York, it's been a 57% efficiency in penalty killing for Phoenix. So just switch that around a little bit. 57%, not very good. The Arrows had a 75% penalty killing efficiency on the season.
Since you lost your abacus, you're not as quick, Al.
I'll tell you what, you need the buttons here. In front, save by Taylor.
You know what's interesting, since we are talking about statistics, that Western Division, in which this team finished second, Denver, San Francisco, and Phoenix led the league in that order in penalty minutes. So we see the correlation, because the worse the team did in the standing, in other words, the more games they lost, the more they tended to foul.
Oh, it was inexperience also, right?
Well, it's also inexperience, but also quality of players.
Lack of talent is what you're trying to say. Or skill?
Skill.
Toth comes way out, knocks it ahead for Bronco Segota. Segota can't chip it around Zavaleta. Ball stays in on a weird bounce in front of Don Popovich. Now Phoenix, left point Zavaleta. Phoenix is down a man here, doing a great job. Segota tackles down Zavaleta. Tripping is the call, and Bronco will go off for 2. That will even things up for the next minute 18, and then it will be a 42-second man advantage for Phoenix. One more look.
Similar kind of a foul. Bronco catches up to Zavaleta. Zavaleta looks to turn, and see now Bronco sees the ball. He shows it to him. And what happens with that foul, Al? Because you're thinking that the guy's going to pull the ball back. So with your back leg, you want to prevent him from spinning on you. Bronco went for the ball. Zavaleta had no idea of turning and wheeling on the ball and went down. So 2-minute foul. We have 4 against 4 on the field, plus a goalkeeper on each end.
Arrows going with Satevsky, Marcantonio, Jungle, and Tuksha. Toth defends the goal to the right. Arrows wearing the dark blue. Phoenix in the yellow, as these teams battle in the deciding game of the best-of-3 quarterfinal, allowing one of them to go to the semifinal weekend and championship weekend in St. Louis. Toth plays it on the weird bounce, makes the save, rifles it across the midfield line for Jungle, who chest chaps it down to his feet. Jungle looking for reinforcements from the back line, has it tackled away by Zavaleta. Satevsky is there. Remember, both teams are even up as a result of the equalizing penalty to Bronco Segota. Marcantonio crosses into the Phoenix zone, cuts to center, lays it off for Satevsky. 36 seconds left to go in the Phoenix penalty, 1:15 in the one to Segota. 9:40 left to go third quarter. Arrows lead Phoenix 4-2. We have yet to see a goal in quarter number 3. Tuksha wheeling around at center. Tries a snap pass ahead for Jungle. Couldn't get it around the defensive Zavaleta. Carlos Zavaleta playing a great third quarter. A real standout for Phoenix. And here's John McDermott, another standout. Steps on the brakes when he's met by Marcantonio along the boards. Tuksha tackled down hard. Maxwell says play on. Foul remaining on the turf. Now he realizes no penalty called. He comes up. Zavaleta coming in. Toth hugging the near post. Broken up by Tuksha, who recovered quickly. He slides it ahead for Satevsky. 2-on-2 break for New York. McDermott racing back for Phoenix. It's now 3-on-3. Marcantonio left side. Pass from Satevsky. Inside Jungle. Down low off the boards. Jungle stays with it. Steve yet to score a goal in the game. Has had a lackluster playoff series as of yet. And a great deal of the credit for that can go to Willie Watson of Phoenix, who has been a tremendous defender, marking Jungle in games 1 and 2 and in the early part of this game. Now Phoenix is on the power play, but only for a few brief seconds. As a matter of fact, only 8. Toth way out of the net, gives way to Davidson. Davidson coming in around the corner. Inside, rolls harmlessly through the penalty area. Both teams are now at even strength. Steve Jungle crosses the midfield line. Segota's off his right shoulder. Jungle cuts left, now right for Segota. Shot, hits the post. High in the air, a ceiling scraper off the windows for Jenkins. Jenkins met by Satevsky at the midfield line, lays it off for Marinello. Ahead for Davidson. Davidson, atop of the arc, moves it in for De Leon. The drive blocked by Jeremovic. Rebound Segota. He whirls it around. Arrows on the move. 2-on-1. Jungle is left. Bronco coming in. Jungle. Goal!
Segota, he gets it at more than half the field, sprints at full speed. You see the last red line. Now he draws the defenders out. There it is, Steve Jungle on the receiving end. And you see him concentrate, getting the full instep of the ball, of the foot on the ball. Van Taylor had to come to the near post to honor the shot. Here we see again how the whole thing started. Look, Bronco gets in his defensive third. Gets on his bike, full speed. Not sure if you see running into your picture, trying to recover. Now he slips it between the defenders.
Oh, is that a great pass?
Tucks it away. That's a third goal that Steve Jungle has gotten like that on quick counters.
For Steve Jungle, his 6th goal of the playoffs this season. An amazing career in the playoffs for Steve Jungle. Broncos to go to the assist. Time is 7:01. Arrows 5 and Phoenix 2 as we're back live now. Freddie Gagura. McDermott takes it away for Jeremovic. Mark Antonio.
You know, Al, the first two games, the third quarter has been the buster. Last time in the last game, it was 5-2, I think, at the end of the half, 5-3.
5-3.
And then it was 6-6 at the end of the third quarter. So this is the quarter usually where games are decided.
But the Arrows have been getting so many 2-on-1 breaks in this game. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we gave the answer in the first quarter.
Let me hear it again.
Because this is not the same Phoenix team. They are not running. The intensity isn't there. And fatigue is beginning to show. They've been playing out of their league in the first two games.
Well, I'll tell you what, I saw them practice yesterday at the Arrows practice facility, and they were charged up.
Well, you know, emotions are great, and certainly they get you up to a certain point.
But they don't put those in the net, right?
After that, it's got to be the physical ability. You know, certainly, you know, these people are winners. You have to be a winner to be an athlete on this level. You know, strong egos and willpower, determination. But still, dream goes to the top.
All right, the slight dispute solved quickly. No idea what it was about. The Arrows awarded the free kick.
Well, New York had played the ball too quickly. The referee did not allow the ball to be played that quickly.
Loose ball at the midfield line, kept alive in New York's possession by Mark Antonio, but now the Inferno steal it away. In their own defensive third, now they move upfield. Natchov slides it back McDermott. 6:40 left to go, third quarter of the game. Al Troutwig, Nick Zlatar, you're watching the quarterfinal final from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale live on Sports Channel. McDermott into the corner for Jenkins. Jenkins started out like a house of fire in game one. Since then, his role in the games has quieted down a little bit. Now Natchov.
Well, I think that's a good example, you know. Jenkins, McDermott, this man right here.
Well, just as Nick talks, Phoenix comes back one. It's 5-3. John McDermott, his second goal of the game.
See, here's a dynamic young player, very wily. He goes in, boom, strikes it first time. Poor marking by New York. You can't give a man that much room to go and attack a goal. See him again. Franz Ceylon doesn't shut him down. Left foot, far post. Here we go, another war, 5-3.
Well, just when it looked like the Arrows might pull away, Phoenix has other ideas. 8:45, the time of the goal. George Natchov, his second assist of the game from John McDermott on his second goal of the game. Arrows 5, Phoenix 3. Segota knocks it back for Megaludis. Phoenix takes it away at the midfield line. Arrows have to be careful here. Phoenix has the type of emotion and skill to explode. Here comes De Leon. Slides it ahead for Numdar. Shot saved by Toth. Loose in the corner. Zoltan Toth recovered beautifully. Out for Marinello. Now for Zavaleta. Arrows go with Segota. Dorico, Gagarev, St. Latin, Megaludis. Loose ball in the corner. Segota with it. Breaks out of the zone. Moves across the midfield line. Tackled away by Phoenix.
Had Numdal played that ball the first time, his team would have been down by one now, but he let it run and lost the opportunity.
Toth comes out of the penalty area. Slides it away from the Phoenix front line. De Leon weaving, deking. Shot is wide. Weird carom off the boards. Comes to St. Lot. He heads it off the glass for Numdar. He's shot off the windows. Rebound for David Dorico, and now New York has clear control. 5:20 left to go, third quarter. Arrows 5, Phoenix 3. Here's Franz St. Lot. Streaks into the Phoenix zone, now shifts down a gear. St. Lot cuts to center. Moves it for Bronco Segota. Bronco's been brilliant in the game so far. He has 2. Gagarev has 2. Jungle with 1. Off the board, St. Lot. St. Lot pushed from behind by Zavaleta. No whistle. Loose ball now taken by Phoenix and knocked back for Van Taylor. The distribution up for De Leon. De Leon battling with Dorico off the ricochet. Numdar along with Segota along the boards. Dorico tackles him, misses. De Leon working on Segota. De Leon for Marianello. Moving in on Megaludis. Cuts to the corner. A drive off the boards. Alberto was there to corral the rebound. Toth rips it up to the midfield line. A little over the head of Freddie Gagarev. Met there by Verdi. He goes back to his keeper. And now Taylor rolls it out to his own red line for Peter Marinello. He crosses the halfway stripe. In between the red lines, met by Alberto. Arrows steal it away. Dorico snaps it up to the midfield line. Segota now from Alberto. 4:15.
Lewis, the man with the ball right there, Luis Alberto, has had a very, very good game. He had a groin, he has a groin pull, I should say, and it was questionable as to whether or not he would start. He took a real good warm-up in the locker room in the hallway prior. He's ready to go. And watch him run into the screen now to try to recover.
Nice stop by David Dorico on the lofted pass by Marinello. Phoenix still in the New York zone. Natchoff tackled again by Dorico. David takes him down. Arrows now with a break as Alberto snaps it away from Marinello. Meets Davidson along the boards and will have a whistle by the alternate. Foul against Luis Alberto. Pushing, and Phoenix puts the ball quickly in play to the corner. Davidson, kick save by Toth. Another shot loose in front. Knocked down Alberto and cleared by David Dorico. Out for Gagurev. Moves it right wing. Segota heads it down. Bronco coming in. Cuts to center. Can't pass it off. And he's quadruple team. And now Phoenix comes back the other way. Davidson, the big gun, crosses into the New York zone. To the corner. Strenicer is there. And now Gino, the older statesman, 35 years old, of New York, weaving around.
Stop saying that.
Well, he is 35 on this team.
He's not playing like a 35-year-old, though.
Never did, never will. Average age on this team, 25.3. Gino, 10 years over that average. Gagurev, pass behind Phoenix, off the boards. It's 2:52 remaining third quarter. George Natchoff, boy, can this guy control the ball? Works on Strenicer, banged off the boards, taken away by New York again. Long pass by Tuchel to Segota. Bronco racing in. Jungle trying to get back. Segota couldn't get the pass off quickly enough. Outside Tuchel. Val controls in the slot. Moving, deking, cutting to the right side. Lost something. Now looks around. Val looks very excited about this play. Val inside for Jungle. He's got to race after it to the corner. 2:20 left to go, third quarter. Steve fired it into the corner. And it went wide for Miller.
And we haven't seen Watson at all this quarter. Miller has been matched up with Steve, so perhaps he's injured. I was trying to look on the bench. I can't see him there.
Now Vic Davidson. This is a much slower Phoenix team than in games 1 and 2. Off the boards, headed by Davidson. No one home for Phoenix on the rebound.
You see, that opportunity like that was scored. Marianello scored a great head goal in Phoenix this time. Just a little bit miscued, and it's not there.
Bronco double team nonetheless, stays with it, passes back for Gino Strenicer.
This is why the format in St. Louis is really a tough one.
Break for Numdar. Tuchel gets back. Toth the kick save. Out to the midfield line. Phoenix keeps it in. Nice play by Jenkins. Here comes McDermott. Races to the corner with Tuchel. Tackle attempted by Val. McDermott wheeling away. Inside Numdar. Tackled away by Alberto and Tuchel.
And we see the difference in the technical skill. Numdar that time had to touch the ball twice. Second time was too far away, couldn't get the shot, whereas a highly skilled player would have hit it the first time. A little bit of a communication problem with Bronco and Steve. And Steve Jenkins came out smelling like a rose. They gave him the ball.
Lack of communication by New York. They give it up. 1:07 left to go, third quarter. Arrows 5, Phoenix 3. Shot by Marinello. Header into the corner. Marinello settles it down again. Looks outside. Here comes Verdi. The drive inside, stopped by Strenicer. Gino ahead for Gagurev. Jungle racing ahead of the field. Gagurev's pass behind the play. And now 52 seconds left to go. Quarter number 3. Headed in the air. Mike Juremovich, the young 18-year-old, on for New York. That bounces one touch off to the turf and into the crowd. This will be a kick in Phoenix with 46 ticks of the clock left to go. Quarter number 3.
A little bit of a panic time that time. Pete Miller trying to go over the top. We don't see that many balls played very high in the indoor league. And certainly not the Phoenix team, because they don't have any rugged guys that can go into the corner and take it. Maybe the Leon can do it, but he doesn't like that. That's not his style.
The Leon with the ball for Verdi. Left side, Marinello coming in, and Alberto. They race to the corner. Rebound in front, knocked away by Juremovich. Ricochet, fought for and controlled by Miller of Phoenix. Whirls away, comes inside, looking for help. Shot off the windows. Strenicer there. Another shot, that goes high. Out for Alberto. Bangs it along the boards for Gagurev. He's banged by Miller. Freddie goes down. Both referees say play on. Here comes Phoenix into the zone. Numdar's shot is wide. Juremovich controls the carom ahead for Steve Jungle. He's met by Verdi at his own red line. 8 seconds left to go, third quarter. Alberto, one last chance, goes down in the process of the pass.
Phoenix taking a lot of shots here, but they're not on target and from too far away. That man right there, Marianello, he scores after the time is elapsed, but he is one heck of a good player. He has really impressed me with his skills.
These two teams have played 45 minutes. Will Phoenix come back in the fourth quarter? You'll only know if you stay with us. It's the Inferno 3, the Arrows 5 after 3. Al Troutwig and Nick Zlatar, you're watching the New York Arrows on Sports Channel, which is New York's newest concept in cable TV sports. Now you can see exclusive coverage of the Islanders, Nets, Yankees, Mets, and Arrows, as well as the finest New York area collegiate sports. Over 250 sporting events in all. It's a complete action package with a New York accent. So when you can't get to the game, get the game at home on Sports Channel. Your box seat to New York sports at home.
Here are the shots for the third quarter. Phoenix had 18 for a game total of 49. The Arrows had 5.
I'm on the field right now with a three-time MISL MVP, Steve Jungle, and a man who wants to recognize all the achievements of Steve, and that is the president of a longtime sponsor with the Arrows, Mr. Ted Greenside of Ultra Seal. Ted?
Thank you, Alan. Steve, it gives me great pleasure as a friend, as a fan, and as a sponsor of the New York Arrows to present you with this plaque in honor of your most fantastic 1980-1981 MISL season. The plaque reads, Steve Zungel, New York Arrows, in recognition of your outstanding 100-plus goals for the 1980-81 MISL season, presented by the Ultra Seal family. Much congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Steve, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Steve Jungle, Ted Greenside of Ultra Seal. Our game continues. Stay with us. Continue it does. We have one more quarter to play. 15 minutes of MISL action. The Arrows 5, Phoenix 3. Plenty of shots and saves yet to come as the Arrows battle for the right to defend their MISL crown at the semifinal championship weekend at the Checker Dome in St. Louis, upcoming this weekend.
And when you looked at Steve's face, below the left eye, you saw some of the rewards of playing professional soccer.
Looked like a turf burn as I got a close-up look when we did that piece. Harvey Zoltan Toth filling in for the injured Shep Messing, defending the goal to the left side. Van Taylor, who has played brilliantly, defends the goal for Phoenix to the right. Arrows their home blue, Phoenix the yellow. Arrows going with Megaludis, Marcantonio, Satevsky, Segota, and Jungle. Phoenix knocks it into the crowd. They say it was deflected by New York. This will be a kick-in upcoming for Phoenix, just underway, fourth and final chapter of the New York Arrows home season here at the Nassau Coliseum. And what a great home it's been.
Corner kick.
Zoltan Toth waiting for the corner kick, which will be taken by Jenkins.
Watch Georgie Nacho running through here.
Broken up by Marcantonio. They battle along the boards. 14:30 remaining in the fourth and final quarter. A break for Phoenix. Jungle racing back. Here he comes. Goal! Take it any way you can. It's 6-3 New York.
Again, like a balance. Look at Pete Miller, his way out of this play. Now Steve comes racing, here comes Van. Steve steps over the ball, looks to cut to his right, miscues here. Pokes it. There he goes, the sixth one rolls over. You know, we mentioned the fact that 15 of the 16 goals prior to this game was scored by Gergarev, Zungel, and Segota. Sure enough tonight, Branko 2, Fred 2, Steve 2. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, keep it balanced. Gergarev, 7 goals on the playoff series. Segota, 7 goals on the playoff series. Jungle, 7 goals on the playoff series. That's 21 goals for New York, and the Arrows have had now 22. Only one other goal, and that was by Val Tuchka in the first game. In the playoffs at the Nassau Coliseum, the Arrows have been amazing. Kick save by Toth. That's off again. The Arrows have outscored their opponents 57-27. Quite an advantage. Tell you the third period statistics. Phoenix outshot New York 18-5, an amazing advantage. Phoenix now with the game advantage 49-44. Saves for Toth 4. Taylor only made 1. Taylor 19 on the game. Toth 13 on the game. But Zoltan Toth has made some great saves and has responded well in spite of the sciatica problem he's having in his lower back. Here's a recap of the third quarter scoring. Only 2 goals were scored. The first by the Arrows, Steve Jungle, his 6th of the season in playoff competition. 31st career playoff goal. Branko the assist. McDermott his 2nd. Natchoff at 8:45 his 2nd assist of the game. And now 37 seconds into the fourth quarter, the Arrows break out to a 6-3 lead. 13.5 minutes left to go. Phoenix crossing the midfield line. Jenkins lead pass up for Natchoff. Return for Jenkins. Shot is blocked by Megaludis. Off the board. Segota. Lead pass for Jungle. Taylor is out. Jungle races to the corner. Taylor sends a high ball up to the crowd.
How about a 2?
Ain't coming. Arrows put the ball in play. 13-12 left to go. Satevsky, Jungle, the give and go. Satevsky tackled off the play by McDermott. Bounces off the boards, and only Phoenix players are there. Davidson, Bob Nightengale once again. I don't know what it is, but the crowd here at the Coliseum loves this song. Off the boards, Toth plays it on the ricochet. Rifles it up to the midfield line for Segota. Marked tightly by McDermott. Bronco staying with it. Plays it along in front of his own bench. Bronco coming in. Steps over the ball. Loose in front. Van Taylor pounces on it. Taylor looks up to the midfield line. Gets it ahead for Cha-Cha Numdar. Toth is out. Loose in the corner. Alberto and Megaludis stop the shot. Great play by Alberto and Megaludis to back up their goalkeeper. Headed away by Mark Antonio. Phoenix still well within range. Arrows lead it 6-3. 3 goals in this game, nothing.
In this particular game?
A lot.
A lot.
See, you love to jump on me, right? Huh?
It's good. You're learning, Al.
12-10 left to go.
Especially the way Phoenix is playing. You know, they're a very courageous team. I think they've done super. They've really been a plus for the league. They've been a plus for their town. They have a great crowd. But I think it's time for them to realize that next year, let's rebuild. Let's prepare to go to the next round. They're not ready to go to the next round.
2-on-1 again for New York. Gagura with Segota. Freddie stays with it, chests it down. Loose in front. Gagura shot is wide. Header attempted. That just missed. But Freddie, 3 for a quarter, just didn't cash in by inches. Back comes Phoenix. Marinello lays it off for Cha-Cha Numdar. How do you sign that name and not laugh? What a great name. 11:25.
His uncle is a very famous referee.
Is he?
Yeah, his uncle refereed World Cup games in Argentina, 1978.
Well, our referee in this game is Bill Maxwell, and he wants to go over to Jeff Mantell, the alternate. What they're discussing, I don't know, but it was the alternate referee who made the call. Certainly looks as though it's going to be a call against Phoenix, which will give New York the ball. And that is exactly what's going to happen here. Now, it's up to Bill Maxwell. When the game is stopped by the alternate, it's up to Bill to go over and see what the alternate has to say. And if his opinion is valid, he will follow suit. Now, Zavaleta sends the ball high in the air, and it goes finally to the penalty arc. And it will be put in play by New York, just inside their own penalty area. 11 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in the 4th and final quarter of regulation time. Toth with Tuksha. They volley it back and forth. Zoltan sends it out to the midfield line for Dragan Nikitovic. Tackled away by Zavaleta. Off the boards, Toth is out. And into the crowd. We have a break in the action. 11:13 left in the 4th. Arrows 6, Phoenix 3. We'll be back. Back at the Coliseum, Arrows with a number of great chances. They missed on all of them. Tuksha saved by Van Taylor. 10 minutes, 35 seconds remaining, 4th quarter. And the fans applaud the efforts of Van Taylor and the New York Arrows. Both making that series of plays exciting. And now Phoenix sets it up outside the New York zone. Zavaleta for Vic Davidson. And Phoenix has surely quieted down. They trail by 3. To the corner, Dorico battles Vic Davidson. They wrestle to the ground, a half Nelson by Davidson. Arrows now come out of their own zone. Racing is Dragan Nikitovic. He's got Gagura right side. Dragan stops it, slows it up, moves to the corner, looks outside for help. He's got Alberto. Luis in control. He's got Jeremovic right point. Gagura in the slot. Goes to the young Jeremovic. 9:55 left to go, 4th and final quarter. Nikitovic for Alberto. 9 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the 4th and final quarter of regulation time. Alberto coming inside. Gagura, the drive off the glass. Outside for Nikitovic. And he goes back for David Dorico, the first team MISL All-Star, the connoisseur, to the corner for Gagura. You're shaking your head. Was it the long ball strategy you didn't like? Or the nickname? Nick?
The nickname.
Now you have to answer for your actions.
No, I don't. Here comes Davidson bearing down on a goal.
All right, back for Davidson the other way. Can you tell when someone doesn't want to talk about something? Jungle at the red line. Broken up by Verdi. 9:05 left to go, 4th quarter. That one scoots into the corner, around the boards for Toth.
A little bit of panic here by Houston. They're dumping the ball deep.
I call him that because he likes to eat fine foods, and if you don't like it, tough.
I like it, hey.
Alberto, we never get along. Alberto pulls it back at center. 8:45 left to go, fourth quarter. Gugurev marked by Verdi. Freddie deliberately goes to the corner. Around the board, saved by Taylor. Outlet by Davidson. How would you assess the way the flow of the game is right now?
I think New York is definitely in control. We got a little bit of panic here by Davidson. They really are a little dangerous here.
All right, we have a break in the action. 8:27 left to go. It's Arrows 6, Phoenix 3. We'll be back. Returning you to Uniondale, Al Troutwig, Nick Slatar. We talk things over. We're talking again. We have 8 minutes and 13 seconds left to go, fourth quarter. Arrows 6, Phoenix 3. The deciding game of the quarterfinal playoffs between New York and the upstart Phoenix Inferno. Of the 8 teams that made the playoffs, Phoenix had the worst winning percentage. Although it was the way they finished the season that really set the stage for the fabulous games that they've played against the defending MISL champions. Zavaleta crosses the halfway line. 7:52 remaining, fourth quarter. Zavaleta coming in. His shot blocked by Megaludis. Chacha Numdar fights with Franz St. Lot along the boards. Franz can't clear. McDermott stays with him. They call a foul against Franz St. Lot. No, against John McDermott. Free kick, New York.
Sure, because John was kicking Franz well before that, and that time the referee saw it and he punished him for it.
Well, the crowd enjoyed it. You get a chance to look at it again.
See, Numdar gets him first. Franz dances out of the way. Now look at McDermott. It's a good thing they're both lightweights.
7:40 left to go now, fourth quarter. At the red line, De Leon. Sultan Tolt for New York in the goal to the left side. Segota taken down by De Leon. Now the crowd is really getting into the game. Segota moves to the red line. Lays it off for Gene Strenisser. Inside for Franz St. Lot. High post on McDermott. Franz looking outside for help. Cuts to center. Whirling around. Moves it for Bronco left side. Bronco, the quarterback in New York right now, slowly, deliberately firing. The header shot attempted by Jungle comes out for Miller.
Al, here is Phoenix problem. Chacha Numdar is the top goal getter. Leroy DeLeon, Zavaleta, McDermott, and Miller. Okay, that's the team. Certainly not a line that's going to get you a lot of goals.
Well, we've got a timeout and a break in the action. There's 7:03 remaining in the fourth and final quarter. It's Phoenix 3, the Arrows 6. We'll return you to Uniondale if you stay with us. Back at the Coliseum in Uniondale. That's one I'm glad they didn't give us a chance to answer because I didn't know it. Knew the first one, though, that we had at halftime. S. Douglas Klein, the man giving us the trivia all year long. 7:03 remaining in the fourth quarter. Sportscaster. I used to be a ball boy, and it's this time of the season when the Arrows say congratulations to their 3. Below me, Scott Altamari. In the middle, Richard Ames, and on the end, David Kletter. Scott, congratulations.
Thank you.
Richard, congratulations.
Thank you.
And over here we have David, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I know they do a lot of hard work all season long, and this is their time for recognition. Congratulations, fellas. And no ball boy jokes here because I used to be one. For 5 years I toiled.
For the wrong sport.
6:37 left to go, fourth and final quarter. Someday I'm going to be able to get the director back when he yells something in my ear. 6-3 is the score. Arrows lead it. Deciding game of the quarterfinal. Dragan Nikitovic weaving around, snatched away by Davidson. Lays it off for John McDermott. Back for Davidson, crosses through the kickoff circle, marked tightly by Strenisser. McDermott racing in left side. Nice tackle by Franz St. Lot to snatch it away. Little help from Gene Strenisser, and the Arrows in control. Franz Saint-Lot, crossfield ahead for the racing Nikitovic. Pulls it away from Jenkins, stays with it, then loses control. And it will go over to Phoenix with 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining, fourth and final quarter. Arrows win. They go on to St. Louis to play Baltimore in the first game of the semifinals Friday night. Shot by Phoenix from way outside, beating Zoltan Toth 6-4.
You know, just as you were talking, I was thinking next chance I had, I was going to make a comment that they've got to get on the board in the next minute. Here we have a restart. Nanchov coming in. Now watch him. He toes it in. Toes it in from approximately 35 feet out.
35, that's 50. Easy.
30, no.
The penalty spot is 24.
That's right. How wide is each one of those panels? I measured them.
You did?
3 yards, 3.5 yards.
Nanchov from Jenkins at 8:58. That makes the score 6-4. And now the plot thickens a little bit.
See, again, now you can expect to see a little bit of kamikaze kind of action from the team in yellow, Phoenix Inferno. They don't care because they know where Phoenix is. They're on the way there unless they can get 2 in exactly 5:58.
Hey, Phoenix has nothing to lose. They're going up against the defending champions. Broncos to go to for New York. Outside, Gagarin. Shot goes up to the crowd. And it will be a goal kick for Phoenix. You know, a short quote I heard from Rick Ragone, the owner of Phoenix. Said after the first game, someone asked him, what'd you think of the win? He says, great. He says, you guys look like you could go all the way. And Ragone kind of half kidding said, hey, I don't want to win this whole thing because next year I'm going to have to win it again. He says, if I go step 1, next year I only have to go step two, and then maybe year 3, I'm okay for the championship. Not a bad strategy, really, when you think about it from a marketing standpoint.
Well, not just from marketing, but you've got to build for it. You can't, you know, championships don't happen. This is why, you know, a lot of people maybe don't appreciate championship teams. You know, they're built in the off season as well as during the season.
All right,
certainly this team came in very late. You know, they just prepared in a hurry. You know, so they're very, very glad to be here. They're very happy with the response they've got in the town, and they're going to build. They're going to be heard from next year.
That last fluky goal seems to have fired up Phoenix. Val Tuksha sends it around the boards. We have 5 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in regulation time. McDermott down low, Nanchov inside, almost broken up by Alberto. Goes crossfield for Broncos. Segota spins around, now Engineers. The Arrows are on the move. Crosses the red line into the Phoenix zone. Racing with him, Verity, the defender for Phoenix. Segota deep into the corner, spins, fires, sock save by Taylor. And Segota follows up, crunches Van Taylor. They both tumble to the turf, and the ball goes up to the crowd.
See, you see the great speed of Branko Segota here. He's beaten Roger Verity 2 or 3 times. Turns out, and look at this powerful shot. Rocks it. Van gets his hands on it, comes off the glass. Now watch this action. Crunch. How about that for a takedown? You know, Shep Messing was a wrestler in high school.
That's right.
So he certainly would have appreciated that move. But there he is, the durability, great athletic ability of the goalkeeper, Van Taylor. You know, some people say you have to be a little crazy to be a goalkeeper. Contrary to that, you have to be very, very courageous.
Well, if you can get a close-up look at his black eye, you know you have to be both of those things. Van Taylor's been magnificent in this brief playoff series. Arrows, Freddie Gagarev spinning to the boards, looks inside, coming in, the shot off the glass, knocked down inside the penalty area by the Phoenix defense.
And
4
you see
minutes.
Freddie used the glass very, very well. He probably uses it better than any other Arrow. That time, Branko didn't read and didn't come running through. But the idea was there, the ball was there.
Well, Freddie had a bad angle, and rather than take a bad shot, went for the pass in front. 4:22 left to go, fourth and final quarter. 6-4, the Arrows lead, broken up by Marcantonio as the Arrows go with Segota, Gagarev, Alberto, Marcantonio, and Tuksha. Alberto pulls it back away from Chacha Numdar. Now Freddie at the midfield line.
Very important for obvious reasons that New York maintain a 2-goal lead here.
Arrows race inside. Phoenix down low, they lose it away for Tuksha. Marcantonio back for Val. The volleyball is lost. Now regained by Branko Segota. He goes back between the red lines. The middle of the third. Now back inside the Phoenix zone. Marcantonio pushed down, holding the call against the Inferno. New York Arrow direct free kick upcoming with 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. One more look.
Oh, great jump up on the glass by the referee, Maxwell. Here we see a little bit of the strength and power that's required for this game. New York winds up with a direct kick. You know, one of the things I'm very happy, you know, in addition to New York going to St. Louis, is the fact that Bob Pizzamenti and I we'll have a chance to beat you and Terry Lewicki in tennis again.
No way. You know how great my forehand is. Segota pursues the ball to the corner. Lays it off for Mark Antonio. 3:33 left to go, fourth and final quarter. McDermott crosses into the New York zone. Weaving, lays it off for Zavaleta. The drive just goes wide. Outside around the boards for Dragan Nikitovic. Now Freddie Gagarev, check that. Freddie racing stride for stride with Marinello. Comes back, loses it at the red line for De Leon. De Leon trying to get it around the tough defense of Val Tuksha. Skips into the boards, and it will be a New York kick-in.
Marinello has really impressed me.
Kick in New York.
He's going to be a key for this team next year. He's really a dynamic player. He's got the skills. He's got the work effort. Can play defense. Total player. Again, another Scottish international was with Vic Davidson on the national team of Scotland. Watch Davis sneaking up. David make a great run all the way from his defensive third, but the ball was not ready to be put back into play. Now he's got to work his way back to his defensive position.
Arrows will kick it in again. Keep in mind, though, one Inferno goal, and we've got a one-goal game. Arrows 6, Phoenix Inferno 4. Alberto loses over to Davidson. John McDermott moves it for Jenkins. Jenkins coming in left side, moving in at center, slides it over for McDermott. Pass eludes him, pursues it to the corner. Natchoff off the ricochet. McDermott keeps it alive, and Alberto clears. Headed away, Segota. Arrows on a 2-on-1. Big goal here if the Arrows can score. But they can't, and it goes back for Van Taylor. Launches it over the head for Jungle, and now Jenkins controlling for the Inferno. 2:45 left to go in regulation. Alberto fronting Jenkins. Down low, Natchoff, goal! There it is! 6-5, we've got a one-goal game. George Natchoff and a big deflection.
We see the problem that existed for New York defense in the very first of the game. Here comes Jenkins carrying the ball. He lays it off. Now look at Georgie Natchoff all alone with a goalkeeper. Zoltan has to come out to cut it off. Here it is again. Now look how naked Georgie is. Tucks it away underneath the diving Zoltan. There it is. I tell you, he has been the key guy. Everybody expected Davidson to do it, but Georgie Natchoff, they acquired him about halfway through the season. He only played in 25 games, missed the first 15. Scored 34 goals in 25 games, and really 7 big ones so far.
Natchoff from Jenkins, same as the last goal for Phoenix. They've got 2 unanswered goals. The score is 6-5. We have 2.5 left to play. Can the Arrows hang on? Phoenix in the New York zone. Dorico deep in his own third. Whips it around outside for Alberto. And now Megaludis has some open field. Leading. Pass up for Catacletus, right side. Catacletus on for his first turn of New York. Down low, Jungle. Loose inside. Jungle looks to shoot. Now holds up. Alberto can't get the pass off from Jungle. High in the air. Slapped over the glass by Taylor. And we've got a corner kick, New York. Van Taylor had to really work hard to slap it over the glass. Had that ball landed and Taylor was up in the air, it could have been a very dangerous play. Watch it here.
He's got to go up and protect it. Now notice he tries to pin the ball against the glass. He doesn't want it coming down him. Corner kick, New York.
Corner kick, Jungle. Shot deflected into the corner. Steve stays with it again. Outside for Davidson. 2 minutes left to go, fourth and final quarter. What an appropriate ending to the series that these two teams have played. They traded 10-6 scores, and now it's come down to this. It's 1-goal lead, New York. Jungle, 1-on-2, attempted to get it back to Catacletus. Interesting move by Popovich to put Catacletus on in this situation. Jenkins, shot, stopped in front, ball is loose, and cleared. Great play by Megaludis, the play of the game. Shot, deflected away by Dorico. That goes off the boards, and now Jungle in control. Tackled by Miller. Fight for the ball. Jungle races back with McDermott. He knocks it back for Taylor. 1:22 left to go. Watch it again.
Here it is, the play of the series, not just the play of the game. Jenkins drives it. Look at Nicky. He dives on it, smothers it, and then plays it out. Here we have that kamikaze action.
Back live for the last minute 5. Arrows trying to hang on in their own defensive third. Bodies flying. Davidson down low. Outside Miller. Their shot is wide. Header by Natchoff. High in the air. Up they go. Toth punches it away. The crowd reacting with every shot. McDermott. Miller. The drive. And that goes up to the crowd. The Arrows have to hang on for 50 seconds. They lead it 6-5.
That may have been the last chance. Peter Miller could not keep the foot on the ball. Here we go. Good action. Georgie Natural over the top. Now look at the great strength and size of Zoltan. He comes out, punches it. Ball goes up against the glass. McDermott catches up with it, plays it back to Peter Miller, and he drives it way up into the top of the crowd.
Goal kick New York. 50 ticks of the clock remaining. And now the rhythmic chant by the crowd. This is the last home game of the season, and the crowd knows it.
You know, the Briar break up the arrows. It's no fun. They're beating everybody. You know, here we go. This says a little bit about the parity of this league. Last team in the playoffs against the first team in the playoffs. 6-5 or 50 seconds to go. Final game of the 3-game series.
Toth lofts one across the midfield line. And a whistle. No, play on. Whistle is from the crowd. De Leon plays it off the boards for Miller. 40 seconds left. Miller met by Alberto. Ball is loose. To the midfield line for De Leon. 33 seconds left to go. Long pass to the corner for Davidson. Stopped by Sakota. He clears. Jungle on a breakaway. Here comes the Lord of Indoors. The shot, he's pushed from behind. Comes in. Loose in front is Alberto. Jungle can't get it free. Clock is ticking down. Van Taylor out of the box, and he used his hands. And it'll be a direct free kick, New York, with 18 seconds left. It looked like Jungle was going to set that shot off from top of the penalty arc. Just as he recoiled his legs, he was pushed from behind. 18 seconds left. Outside, Strenisser, Jungle, shot in the air, headed away by Marinello. Strenisser keeps it alive. Segota coming in. 10 seconds left, right through the crease. 8 seconds left. Alberto looks outside. He's got Strenisser, and 5, and 3, 2, 1. The Arrows have escaped with the scare of their lives. It's over. What a series it has been. The final score, the New York Arrows 6, the Phoenix Inferno 5. The Arrows move on to the semifinals in St. Louis. But they better take a deep breath in the locker room. A moment to say, we were lucky.
So the Arrows won this one 6-5 to take the series 2-1. They moved on to the Final Four the following weekend in St. Louis, and this is the actual program from that semifinal and final weekend from 1981 at what was then the Checker Dome in St. Louis. Of course, spoiler alert, the Arrows won it, their third straight MISL title. They'd make it 4 the following year. They were indoor soccer's very first dynasty. This is Soccer Rewind. I'm Ken Tomash. Every week we're bringing you a new video where we look at a vintage American soccer game and talk to someone connected to it. That someone this week is Bob Nightengale. He was with the Arizona Republic back in 1981. You know him today as the national baseball writer for USA Today, later became the beat writer for the Phoenix Inferno team. So Bob, taking the two-time defending champions of the league to the limit, coming within a goal of tying that final game, one of only 4 losses that the Arrows would have in that 4 years that they won every title. They'd drawn some good crowds. When we talked about maybe those were a little bit papered, wouldn't be a surprise. Did it seem like maybe they were becoming viable? I mean, the people inside the Inferno seem to think so. Did you guys in the media think so?
We think it had a chance, but more of a young crowd, lots of goals, so that excited people. And you kind of, at that time, a little bit naive, you believe what they said. So when the Phoenix Inferno people were saying, hey, we think this thing's going to go, the league was excited. You believe as well, like, okay, maybe this thing's going to stick around for a while.
But the next season, 1981-82, didn't start well at all. They brought in Steve David, who was a great goal scorer, but they lost the opener 6-5 to Cleveland, and Adrian Webster ripped his team for not playing hard. That's actually the very first game, and we're looking at your game story from that season as a beat writer. So what were you thinking? You're a young man in your first year on the beat. What are you thinking when the coach just goes off on his team after the first game?
At that time, not much, because it was more common. Whether it was, football, they would do that. Major League Baseball, they would do that. Now it's all frowned upon. Now it would really jump out. So I think that with the coach going off like that, it was more accepted, where now it would really jump out, especially with social media.
Indeed. So Webster got fired at 0-5. They traded Vic Davidson to Cleveland. They were 2-7 in late December when tragedy struck. Tell us what happened next.
Yeah, the owner of the team, Rick Ragone, is a very energetic guy, great enthusiasm. People liked him a lot, great personality. He's killed in a car wreck, out of the blue. It's like, oh my God, what happened here? It turns out he got hit by a drunk driver. His dad was in the car. But even then, with the drunk driver and everything else, people later on said, what really happened that night? Because for a while, people thought he actually got murdered. Did someone cut his brake line or something like that? It turns out, it was a DWI case, which you don't hear that much about back then. So that was a story, but all the rumors and speculation were flying. How did he actually, really die? Did he die that way?
Especially given what we're going to find out later about what happened with this club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whether some foul play involved, what was that drunk driver? Was he part of the whole thing? The whole situation, it was just so wild back then. You weren't sure what to believe.
Well, then, as they say, things really got weird. A guy named Irv Berger supposedly bought the franchise and took over. There were accusations of financial impropriety, players not getting paid, union dues not being withheld, taxes not being paid. Rec Ragon's widow sued Berger. It seemed like all the goodwill that had been built up by that late run and the playoff series was gone. As we say, this is where it really gets weird. Are you thinking this is even weirder than I can imagine?
Yeah, especially Ken when I started hearing that the players are being paid in cash. They weren't being paid checks. It's like, okay, here's cash for everybody. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? I mean, who pays in cash? And Irv Berger, nobody really knew anything about. Oh, you heard he had money. Then the suspicions, is that really his real name? So a lot of things started to click at the same time.
And the team had a worse season. They were 17-27, finished out of the playoffs. Somehow there's another season despite all the turmoil, but Berger went bankrupt in December 1982. The league took the franchise away. And in January 1983, a local cable executive named Bruce Merrill bought the club supposedly for $175,000. But now this is why we brought you here, Bob. This is why this is really what happened. In a front page story in February of 1983 in the Arizona Republic, you broke the news that Berger really hadn't owned the team at all and that gangsters from Miami had been the money men. Can you walk us through the reporting of this story and how you broke this front page story?
I just remember Ken working for months and months at a time. And, back then there was no internet, so it was hard to find out who those five guys were. And then you actually call DA officials, law enforcement officials in Miami, and say, do you know anything about this person? Like, oh my God, yeah, he used to be in Fidel Castro's army. Yeah, this guy's up for murder, this sort of thing. And there were five guys. They were all working for the same attorney. It was, tough at the time to get the information out. And I just got out of college, so I really, wasn't sure what I was doing, but I knew I was on to something. It was kind of a scary situation, because I had been warned by, one of the guys involved, hey, be careful. Those guys are heavy hitters. So literally, Ken, not exaggerating, I would check my car every day before I started it, both going to work at the Arizona Republic downtown and after work. They had that reporter, Don Bowles, who was murdered with a bomb. And I was thinking, okay, is something going to happen here? And all my notes and stuff, I hid underneath my bed at night. So, okay, if something happens to me, hopefully somebody will find the notes and realize what happened.
Wow. That's really scary, especially for a young guy trying to make his bones in the media. Tell us about the stories of how Berger and Ragon before him would fly to Miami and come back with a big suitcase full of cash.
Yeah, that's how they paid the players and paid their employees, just with cash. It's like, what's going on here? And nobody does that. And, back then you're thinking about, okay, the whole Miami Vice thing, all the cocaine and drug trafficking there, and what's going on. And then when you found out who the five guys were and did research, I should have had more help from people inside the office. Like I said, doing as a young reporter, and got all this stuff. It took a while, and the paper trusted me. Like, okay, here's the paper trail. Here's what I have, to go with that story, and particularly an A1 front page story, which just doesn't happen.
When we say that those guys in Miami, were tied to the underworld, if you read the story, and we'll put it in the show notes as well, there was murder in a restaurant. There was all these, like you said, Castro's army. There was all these things. This was, if you wrote this as a script for Netflix or some show like that, they would say, nah, it's not realistic. But yet it happened.
Right. And that's when you start thinking about, wait a minute now, did Rick Ragon really die that way? Something happened. is just too mysterious. Then you start hearing stories. He was the game along those 5 guys. Maybe they had him killed. So yeah, then it got, like I said, real ugly. Of course, the one mistake I made, just being a young reporter, is a local TV station. It was Bill Denny or Mark Curtis or someone had me on a Sunday night show. And I went on there with Earl Berger. So here I am, a young guy saying, hey, this guy's a crook. Berger's on the other couch saying, no, here's a young guy. Doesn't always talk about, we're going to sue you. Obviously, never got sued. The paper never got sued. But I never should have been that show without an attorney, particularly as a young reporter.
Lessons learned. So Bruce Merrill changed the team's name that summer from the Inferno to the Pride, but the 1983-1984 season was the end. They actually went 18-30. Merrill folded the franchise, and you actually wrote the story of the team's folding to put the final denouement on all of this that summer. When you look back at that period today, 40 plus years later, what sticks with you about the Phoenix Inferno / Pride?
Yeah, just the underworld connection. Like, you just don't hear about that in professional sports. Maybe it's happened, we didn't know. But just, how crazy that was, how crooked it was. And then, at the time, journalists, trusted what people said. Hey, we trusted that Earl Berger was worth this much money. Rick O'Gall was worth this much money when they weren't. And, the league itself would say, hey, we just let everything slide. We let things happen without, fully researching it. So it's the way it was back then. Nowadays, of course, that would never fly in any sport.
Now, that story obviously was a great story. Any reporter would love to have that on your resume. Despite having to check under your car every day, did that story help your career going forward?
I think it might have, just as far as being looking at research, things like that. Before I left town, I did a story about Arizona State's graduation rate among its athletes. So I had everybody's report cards and GPAs, and found out the GPA for the or the graduation rate for the football team was about 11%. Basketball team was 12 or 13%. That created a lot of waves. That was like a 5-part series. And then shortly after that, I went on my way to go to Kansas City, cover the Kansas City Kings. That lasted 1 year. Then switched to baseball and stayed in baseball ever since. But yeah, those stories and the ones you sent me and the emails and stuff brought back a lot of memories. I had not seen clips of that can in must be at least 3 decades.
And baseball has some weird things too, but nothing this weird. Have you encountered anything even close to this weird in 40 years of covering baseball?
No, I mean, the plot back, nothing to do with the underworld. In the Dodgers when that was when Big Grump with their owner Frank McCourt. That was some crazy stuff. We've seen crazy stuff on the field, but nothing like that. Not where the underworld's involved and where people are paying everybody in cash and not really raising eyebrows.
I always say it's weird for me to see the sons of players that I covered in various sports playing those sports at the big league level. Now it makes me feel old. You not only see that now, but now your son is a baseball writer now covering the Twins, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He went to University of Bradley University in Illinois, then went to Kansas, covered KU. Then went on to cover the Cincinnati Reds and now the Minnesota Twins. So we get to talk a lot, bounce ideas off each other. He asked me my opinion on different things. So it's I didn't push him that direction. I think just being around baseball clubhouses, he kind of fell in love with being a sports writer.
Very cool. And like me, last thing, you're here in the Valley. We have an outdoor soccer team now. There were indoor teams here briefly, the Sand Sharks and the Thunder in the late 90s, early 2000s. Do you ever run into anyone who remembers the Inferno at all, or that you wrote about them at all?
There's a guy that he does some work for Associated Press in different outlets named Bob Hune. He's still in the Valley, and he worked for Rick Ragone, just briefly, but he came out from back east, I think it's from the Boston area, and that's about it. It will come up a little bit. The same thing, both memories are hazy about what happened and everything else. So yeah, you brought back a lot of memories when you emailed and showed me the clips and the stories. Like I said, I hadn't seen those things forever.
Yeah, that's what we do on this channel. Bob Nightengale, I really appreciate your time and willingness to rewind with us. This was a story I felt needed to be preserved. So thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ken.
All right, that's it for this week on Soccer Rewind. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, send us an email. Put the email address up on the screen for you. Check out the other videos, and then join us next week for another one. We have got some more great ones coming, and we're going to be doing some cool giveaways for subscribers in the near future. We'll let you vote on what vintage American soccer game you want to rewind next. So stick with us. It's going to be fun as we grow this channel. I'm Ken Tomash. Thanks for watching.
It certainly was a crazy finish. Once again, the final score. The Inferno 5, the Arrow 6. But Nick, that was an amazing end.
And here we see the great sportsmanship and the camaraderie that occurs between professional soccer players. They're exchanging shirts. If you see a naked top, the reason is that some of the Phoenix players are getting the New York Arrow shirts. There's Peter Millar, very, very intense player, shaking hands with Chef Messing. This is what it's all about. This is the great spirit of the game.
And now the Arrows will go out to the midfield line to wave goodbye to the fans they've come to love, because they go on to the unfriendly Checkerdome, a city where the Arrows are not loved, I'll tell you what. So they wave goodbye, and the fans can simply say good luck, because once they get to St. Louis for the semifinals, they're on their own. And
well, this will be the last time that they'll have a crowd cheering for them.
And the semifinals will be one game. So if you have a bad game, forget about it. And then the final game is also one.
See you again next year. Let's go!
So the Arrows say goodbye to their Coliseum fans, but we don't say goodbye to you. So the Arrows head by to the locker room.
Final shots for the fourth quarter. Phoenix had 11 per game, total of 16.
They go to the locker room, they'll say goodbye. So the Arrows win the quarterfinal series by a 2-1 count. First game, 10-6 Phoenix. Second game, 10-6 New York. As we look at the final fourth quarter scoring, we spell it out for you. The first goal scored by New York, Steve Jungle. His 32nd of the playoff history, but then look at Phoenix coming back. Nanshaw from Jenkins, but it was one goal short. And the people in Phoenix have a lot to be proud of because they compared this first game win in Phoenix to the Americans beating the Russians in hockey. Certainly, Nick, what a great finish, an appropriate one for this series.
It certainly has been. It's been so exciting that, and I think part of the excitement was caused by the whole unexpectability of the thing. Nobody expected that Phoenix would put on such a great fight. The magic number was 6. You know, New York winning at home twice. Great stuff. Georgie Nanshaw was super. Van Taylor was super.
The two-time champions of the Major Indoor Soccer League, the New York Arrows, are sponsored in part by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Buick, and your Buick dealer who invites you to see the 1981 Buicks. By Chemical Bank and the over 100 Chemical Bank branches to serve you. By Ultra Seal, the ultimate in automotive value protection. By Sony, a full line of audio and video products to help you see and hear all the wonders of the world. From Sony, the one and only. And by the smokeless tobaccos, Skoal, Copenhagen, and Happy Days, enjoyed by millions of guys for tobacco pleasure without smoking.